Lightweighting means reducing mass and consolidating parts. No one tackles these design and tooling challenges better than three-dimensional services. We'll provide flexible tooling solutions, including integrating parts, reducing design complexity, or even design changes. We're the go-to source for rapid manufacturing and low-volume production. Trust three-dimensional services to develop the most efficient approach to meet your lightweighting challenges today. Three-dimensional services. Prototype, production, proven.
As you can tell, I like to go fast. Our race team is really well prepared. We like to look good, but we also like to dress good, and that's why we shop at Franklin Road Apparel. I own the company, and I wear the clothes that we sell in that store. So check us out. We carry all the top brands: Baldwin, John Barbados, Billy Reed, Goodman brand, and on down the list. So come see us, Franklin Road Apparel, Franklin, Tennessee.
Welcome once again to the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli. We're at Watkins Glen for the latest Speed Tour, and what a backdrop. With me, Tony Pirella, and this is always a great occasion here because we celebrate the history of Watkins Glen, both as a street circuit and, of course, the famous iconic racetrack itself. But for you, it's special as well.
This is really special on so many fronts. First, my first time here, I was 10 years old. My father took me here because I coerced him into taking me to see a Trans Am race. Now I'm 10. To come back here, now I'm 63, and have Trans Am and be an owner of Trans Am, but also some of the very cars I saw in 1969 are in this parade and racing with us up at Watkins Glen at the street circuit. So this is, you know, and we race everywhere, as you know. We're 25 races next year. But to be here, this is, and I live 30 miles up the road, so this is really coming home.
But also, not only did you sort of get your love for motorsport here, it's also where you professionally took over SVRA and signed the dotted line for the next 10 years ago.
It's so funny how much of my life has changed. On September 8th, 2012, I signed the papers in the paddock to buy SVRA. And over that next 10 years, we acquired Trans Am and the rights to F4. And we've exploded as a company. When I bought the company, we only raced it here, Sebring, and Mid-Ohio. And as I said, next year we'll be involved with 25 events. So this is a homecoming. Look at the way the city embraces racing. But this event, you come here for a lot of different events are held here. But this is really paying tribute to how it all started in 1948.
This weekend, over 400 cars involved in SVRA and Trans Am, bumper fields throughout. Got to talk about Chris Dyson, who's dominating TA, and also a car that you'll be driving.
Yeah, I'm driving this particular Cobra was built by Candor High School. The one across over there was Waverly High School. We had 3 high schools participate in the competition. Chris Dyson started this Winner's Circle Foundation, and the idea is to get young kids in high school, who have the aptitude and the want to be involved with restoring cars, be a mechanic, involved with racing, brings it all together, and these local high schools build these cars and they compete. At lunchtime, they have, fit and finish, how the cars perform, how tight everything is, and then they have a competition, we judge them. And next year, I know there'll be at least 4, possibly 5 high schools. And the goal someday is to have a national show that high schools all across America are building these cars and, really bring tomorrow's racers, whether they're driving, mechanics, builders, what have you, into the sport at such a young age. Because the car culture is changing as, like, you know, like e-cars come and kids are on their phone. It's different than when I was a kid. Everybody was into cars when I was a kid, and it's changing. So Chris is not only very fast and a great racer, but he's giving back to the community. So I'm just proud to be a small part of it, to have it here, that we showcase it here at Watkins Glen.
Finally, Tony, I've got to ask you about that, the racing of Chris Dyson. 5 wins this season. He's totally dominating in TA, and of course he's just from down the road. What do you think?
He's, look, he's a special talent. You know, he's raced on several different stages in mainstream motorsports. He's just found a home here at Trans Am. The last couple of years, he's been a force to be reckoned with, and I think he will be for a while. Trans Am as a series is going through some exponential growth, and that's including TA2, TA. All of it seems to be coming together, and I think we're becoming a ladder system for NASCAR with the emphasis on road racing, and having Chris as one of our competitors is just a gift. And obviously, I'm proud of what he's doing in the community as well.
Well, thanks, Tony. We'll let you enjoy the festival and the big weekend ahead. And talking of Chris Dyson, you've heard what Tony thinks. Let's hear what his competitors think of the great man leading the championship, Chris Dyson.
Chris Dyson, you know, is the ultimate professional driver. He's run a lot of different cars, prototypes, won Daytona 24-hour races, so he's been around the block a time or two. That's why he's so successful.
Well, he's got a fantastic team behind him, but it's his mindset. He's a fantastic champion. He's been a champion in many different racing series over the years, and he's brought that to Trans Am.
Chris obviously has a ton of experience in all kinds of avenues of racing. He's a champion through and through, so it's exciting to race against great people and great competitors like the Dyson family.
As a driver and his team, they're on such a momentum, and you know, when you guys get a chance, look up the word momentum in the dictionary. It's unstoppable sometimes, and but that's what we're here for, to stop his momentum. We've got 3 races to stop that momentum, and that's all we can do right now is get in his head at the end of the year that we stopped his momentum going into next year. Coming after you, Dyson.
Well, I know one thing's for sure. Chris Dyson would love this. Born just down the road, this is what it's all about, Ben. 1948, on these very streets is where it all began.
Yeah, this is the Downtown Parade Festival, the Watkins Glen historic Grand Prix here. The cars are ripping up through here. This is over a 6-mile course, and they actually had to shut down the railroads back in the day, which is quite a feat. But they're about to come around for the second lap. We've got pre-war Bugattis from the 30s, old Grand Prix cars, but we also have a great group of historic Trans Am cars. So a ton of history here on these historic roads in Watkins Glen, New York.
Now, talking about oldies but goodies, am I right in saying 10 years ago, you were Tony Pirella's first hire?
Yeah, this was our 10-year anniversary. Tony signed the papers here to take over SVRA. He called me and said, will you come up to this event? I want to talk to you about some things. Had no idea it would be this. I've had a blast. He might say it was a bad decision, but I think this is our aluminum. I know you say aluminium.
That's all right.
Anniversary, but it's really cool to be here. Probably my favorite event because of this downtown parade.
Well, it's about to get underway. Engines are going to be approaching very quickly. Let's quickly talk about, though, what's happening up the hill, the TA battle for the championship. Yes, Dyson has to be favorite with 5 wins, but there are others who could stop him.
Yeah, in a tight fight for second place is Amy Ruman, Tommy Dreesy, and Ken Twaits. He's kind of been the surprise, and right now he's leading in second place, so never count that out. I got to speak to him a little bit earlier. Well, thank you, gentlemen. I'm here with Ken Twaits, Franklin Road Apparel, at the Franklin Road Apparel Classic at Watkins Glen. But first, Ken, I feel like I need to apologize. I may have had something to do with a couple years ago into what now has obviously turned into an addiction.
Yeah, thank you. You know, I ran the Audi for 2 years, just a little 1-car team, and now look what it's turned into. We got a 4-car team, 2 TA2 cars and 2 TA cars. So it's getting bigger, we're getting faster, we're getting more successful.
Second in points in TA. I know that's got to mean something to you, especially with the close competition between Chris Dyson, Tommy Dreese, Amy Ruman, some huge names in racing history.
Yeah, I never expected it. Last year I finished 4th in points, which was crazy for me, my first year in the big class. You know, and Chris Dyson's put everything out of reach. You know, he's pretty much got another championship locked up, but Tommy Dreese, Amy Ruman, and I are in it. You know, we're 1 point apart. It's a battle.
Knowing Ken Thwaites and that you're all about this show, I've heard some rumblings of what's going on for next year, and I'm super excited about it. I know you can't share that yet, but the things that you're doing behind the scenes, you're already looking forward to 2023.
Yeah, we've been talking to a lot of different drivers. It's a silly season in Formula One. It's a silly season in Trans Am. There's no different. And we've reached out to a few people, and a lot of people have reached out to us, which is a very big compliment to our program. They want to run with us. They want, you know, we're kind of on the ground floor, so we can only go up from here. And so there's going to be some exciting announcements. No, you're not getting it out of me right now.
Perfect. Well, gentlemen, that's Ken Thwaites here at the Franklin Road Apparel Classic at Watkins Glen, New York.
Hey everyone, welcome to Watkins Glen International for the Franklin Road Apparel Classic. And certainly it's going to be tough out there. You can see the conditions for yourself. They haven't changed since early this morning. The rain started coming down as predicted, and these are the sights and sounds of Watkins Glen at the moment. The wind has dissipated a little bit, but as you can see from the track conditions, it's not drying up any. And right now SVRA still out on track, and the spray and conditions just not good for racing, especially in a big 850 brake horsepower plus Trans Am car. But history continues here at the Glen, and as you heard from our dear leader Tony Pirelli, came here as a 10-year-old back in 1969. The tradition of the longest road running series in North America continues here today. I want to make sure we remember that it is September 11th, and as a Brit, I just want to give my condolences to all my fellow Brits and the Commonwealth around the world for the loss of Queen Elizabeth II. The fans, though, they don't care about the weather. They're used to this sort of stuff, and so they have continued to sit in the stands, and they'll be filling those stands very soon for the start of our race. But one man who doesn't care whether it's good, shiny or not is our Ben Sissel. He's down there in the thick of it. Down to you, Ben. What's happening?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We're doing the grid walk here at a very wet grid. It's a false grid with the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli. I have a very special guest representing Franklin Road Apparel, Adam Andretti, who we saw yesterday in the TA2 race. He's going to be the color commentator here for our broadcast. But Adam, I know you have a lot of experience here in the wet, but tell me some of the drama that a driver's going through at the grid like this.
Well, first of all, you know, our natural road course that we have here at Watkins Glen, as you can see, is pretty unforgiving with those baby blue barriers all around. But what I love to see here this morning, above all, is the die-hard race fans that we have that stuck it through with this weather, and we love to see you still sticking around here. So thank you for that, and we have not gone unnoticed. But yeah, the anxiety that comes about you, because there's a lot of rivers that come with this place as well, with the elevation changes, and you know, and it's not a brand new surface, so it is kind of polished in areas, so you really have to know where to place your car. So there could be some home field advantages for the people like Paul Fix and the champ behind me here, Chris Dyson, who has a possibility of locking up that championship here today, Ben.
Nice. Well, let's try to talk to Chris Dyson here before he gets in. Chris, before you get in the car, from the Empire State here.
Yeah, I'm
what's
fine with
your
that.
strategy? It's you know, it's kind of unlike you to see you starting second. You're going into the rain, single file start. What's your strategy here at what I would consider one of your home tracks?
Well, obviously it's to survive first and foremost. Conditions can get pretty treacherous out there in the wet, and the car's been great in all conditions all season, and I'm really happy to have the Altwell car up here on the front row, and we've got a decent points lead. I'm just looking to consolidate that and take it down the home stretch here.
Do you think you have the visibility issue that we've seen in conditions like this? Do you feel like you have that figured out?
I think I can see it through the windscreen, and that's a big start. It's going to be clear sailing ahead, and we're looking forward to it.
Nice. Thank you, Chris Dyson. Adam, if you'll come with me, because you're really familiar with this car with Pancho Weaver. I was talking to Pancho Weaver and Boris said ahead of time, and Boris was going to go out in his 16-inch wheels that he used at Road Atlanta a few years ago against you, and Pancho was like, I don't know, but am I going to go to the 18? So now, what's that?
Bought a set of wheels.
Yeah, so he bought a set of wheels. Look, Pancho's trying to correct, or Boris is trying to correct me. Now they're on the 18-inch wheels, no longer on the 16-inch wheels. Are they brand new tires, Boris? Boris is shaking his head, brand new tires. So Pancho Weaver, I love it, going to try to put Boris up front. What can you tell us about that strategy?
So you know what you love about that is this is really the story of that David versus Goliath, right? Pancho brings this thing out of an awesome shop that he has down in his basement of his home, believe it or not. And so this is a big stretch of their budget to also get this. That's a big shout out to Brant Gladstone, who's here from Fixie Wheels, who is Fixie Wheels. So big shout out to Brant and Fixie Wheels for stepping up to help out this operation like they did, and Pancho doing everything he can to make sure Boris is up front here today and wreaking havoc on this field like he can do.
Nice. And now we got to brag on our friend starting third in this Franklin Road Apparel, Ken Twaits out here. You're representing Ken Twaits in the Franklin Road Apparel with your shirt on. You're going to be announcing for everybody, but you've raced just about for every group in here in the TA class. But how cool is it to see Ken up here in third place with his front car in Justin Marks qualifying first, so first and third. You got to be really proud of that.
So proud of it. I mean, we've seen Ken just come leaps and bounds since he's entered the Trans Am paddock. He started off in the GT class cars, and then he got a taste of these TA cars and has not one to let go, and who can blame him? But on top of that, he's put in the effort to absolutely get better. And talking with JJ over there, he had an eclectic time yesterday on his data. You know, that puts together all our best of our laps, and his eclectic time would have put him easy P2 to Justin Marks. And Ken's got a really solid head on his shoulders, so in these weather conditions, he knows what he has to do to keep this thing underneath him, stay on the black stuff, and we look to be real proud of him also in another 100 miles.
Now look what I'm noticing right now. We're talking about this rain, this visibility. Everything is sealed up. You can see there's some redundancies. He also has these blowers. But then it looks like they had to do a little bit of welding and some fabricating and a little bit of grinding here. And that's what you're doing, kind of last minute, all these things to try to keep drivers with some visibility.
Well, absolutely, and even little aero pieces on there too to keep the things planted to the windshield, because at the speeds that you carry in a TA car here, I mean, you're well over 170 miles an hour, so you're going to float those things right when you need them the most when you're entering into that bus stop. So really, really good stuff here as far as the crew there at Showtime has done everything they need to do to make sure. And I had a nice umbrella from Tony Pirelli. I love that. And I rhymed it. But the redundancy, it's like an aircraft, right? You got to have a fail-safe, and they have those. They have the anti-fog shields on here. We also have, obviously, the wipers. And, you know, the blowers inside are going to make the big difference. And Ken's going to be using all three, I guarantee you, the whole time.
Nice. Well, I'm going to send it up to Jonathan in the booth to run us through this whole grid in TA, XGT, SGT, and GT. Jonathan, take it away.
Excellent stuff, Ben and Adam. Adam will be joining me here in the booth momentarily. The perfect man to have, as he's got so much experience in these absolute monsters of the cars. But let's take a look at the grid. 143.8, not a bad way to Justin Marks to open his campaign in TA for Franklin Road Apparel Chevrolet, because it is his first time in this team. Chris Dyson, the championship leader, could wrap it up if he takes the full 35. That's going to be a big ask, though, but he's in the right position. Twaits is in third position, then Boris said, as you heard there, with the new wheels on that one and only Dodge Challenger. Pintarik in fifth. Amy Ruman, coming back off surgery, is in sixth place. She hopes to give it a go. but loves racing here and has had some great times here at the Glen. Paul Fix rejoins us. He was pole here back in 2016 in his Ford Mustang. He starts 7th. Tommy Dreese also has had some good times here and some wins here at the Glen in his Ford Mustang in 8th. Then it's Hamann coming up from his IGT. He's got double duty this weekend as his Jody Miller. It'll be good to see the battle for 9th and 10 between those two in XGT. Then in SGT, Aaron Pierce, he's got a good record here at the Glen. Cindy Lux, always good to watch in that Dodge Viper 12th. Leuenberger 13th, Kerry Hitt. Then Richard Grant and Michael Sire in 16th position. Milton Grant, Danny Lowry, they're in 17th and 18th. Danny had a little off earlier in the weekend in the R8, but he's fixed it all up, having got parts from far afield. Scott James, Lee Saunders, Larry Bailey, and Cary Grant in that Porsche GT3 Cup car lines up 22nd. That's how it's going to be. It's going to be one of the toughest races of the weekend, and the championship is on the line. Let's head back down to Ben now as we get ready for the start of TA from Watkins Glen.
Ladies and gentlemen, so happy to be here at the TA XGT SGT GT grid. Adam Andretti is going to deliver. We've had an Unser here with us as the Grand Marshal. Now we've got an Andretti here to deliver the most famous words in motorsports. Adam, take it away.
Well, very proud to present Franklin Road Apparel, and thank you to all the race fans here and at home watching. Proud to deliver the most famous words. Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines. Absolute cacophony of colour and noise. And we'll be on board with our pole man, Justin Marks, for the Franklin Road Apparel on board. There is Justin, and if you don't know that name, of course, you may have heard it in motor racing terms. That's because he is the owner of Trackhouse Racing in NASCAR. They'll be racing at Kansas this afternoon. And yeah, we've got some pretty good celebrities. Ken Thwaites, the team owner of Franklin Road, will be on board with him. What a season he's having. And he is one of the men who could challenge the man to his right, Chris Dyson. And in these dicey conditions, to keep on the Dyson phrase, it really is a case of who dares wins. Lucas on board with Tommy Dreese. Tommy has had an up and down season with Paul Gentilozzi, and they were expecting to get the new chassis. That hasn't arrived yet. And we'll also be looking at the Altwell Chris Dyson car will be on board with Chris as he navigates his way around the circuit. Adam Andretti has just rejoined me in the booth, and I'm looking forward to talking to Adam about racing in the wet in a TA car. Because imagine this, folks. These are purpose-built for racing. Yes, they have the silhouette, if you will, and the engine of the famous manufacturers like Ford Mustang, like Dodge Challenger, and so on, the Camaro right there. But you've got 850 brake horsepower under the hood, and in these wet conditions, it is basically like being an Olympic ice skater with and the wheels of an Olympic runner in the form of the speed that they can pull out. So, Adam, just while we've got a moment, just tell me how you deal with that when you've got way more power than you need. It's like playing basketball in a bowling shoe.
Yeah.
You know, you have no idea what kind of grip level you're going to have from moment to moment. I was very fortunate to be able to talk to most of the drivers out there and get their take on what's going on. And And it's funny. And what you love about the wet as a racer is it's the great equalizer. So honestly, like every single driver, even the ones that maybe after time trials felt like their chances today were to win a race were not that great, but it's totally salvageable now because of this great element of rain. And that's what's so fun about our sport. It's the unpredictability of it, and this just adds that to it. I so enjoy this part of it.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, you know the circumstances. You've raced Chris Dyson yourself. You know how good he is, wet or dry. But if you were looking to try and see a chink in the armor, would it be a day like this when he has to think twice about how hard he wants to go?
Well, this is it. I mean, he's obviously got everything to lose. I mean, the championship is his to take it today if it all goes right. So, you know, and Chris is so smart, and he's so with it between the ears, you know, right where you have to be in his headspace. And so for him, he's going to manage the day. I predict him to manage the day very, very well and very intelligently, like you would expect. So him and the Altwell Ford Mustang and that group over there at CD Racing, they always have a great strategy. So he's definitely going to be one to beat. You know, Justin Marks out there, he's there to win a race, flat out, sold. He wants to win that race. You have David Pinterick, who's in that new Riley chassis, which is everyone raving about with this weather condition. Let's not forget about our good friend there, Boris Said, in that Pancho Weaver Dodge, and what he can do in these conditions. Time and time again, you see him as a maestro in the wet. So this is going to be a very, very exciting day, and I really look forward to calling this race with you today, Jonathan Green.
Well, they always say the lead dog gets the best view, especially Justin Marks in this case, because he has got nobody in front of him, no spray. But let me ask you this, how do you prepare for these sorts of conditions? I'm sure there's a few people out there like myself who've never raced a car before. We've all been in the wet, we've got wipers, but in these conditions with the mist and you're trying to literally overtake people, how do you go about it?
It's really challenging, you know. I mean, when you said it, you know, when you're not the lead dog here, and like he's got clear vision right now because he's got no one in front of him, right, Tommy Dreese. But as you get up to speed, you know, imagine yourself on the highway when you come up next to that semi truck that's throwing all that spray up, and you check off the throttle, and you're really hesitant to make that pass on the highway. You know, as a racer, you don't have that option. You're keeping your foot on the wood there, and you're driving through that mist, and it's really it's a lot of a blind drive, and you're driving by instinct. You're driving by total feel and knowing where the track goes, and that's what that's what adds this tangible to it, so to be so exciting.
Nice bit of information there. The previous winners at the Glen, Dyson last time out in the doubleheader, got 2 wins. The only man who's not out there of those winners that we just saw, Ernie Francis Jr., currently in Indy Lights, a 7-time Trans Am champion. So all the winners in the past, bar Ernie, are out there right now. Well, let me ask you another question. The pace car obviously is going slower. The cars are going slower than they would in dry conditions. Is that a worry for warming your tires?
Well, no, because they're getting 2 full laps here. You know, if you noticed yesterday in the TA2 race, for those fans that tuned in, we only got the 1 lap. You know, we were in dry conditions, beautiful weather. So here today, they're going to get 2 laps. They're going to do a single file start, and it's going to be really easy to know which ones are GT cars because they got headlights.
That's a good point. Yeah, and riddle me this, as they say. Could the GT cars, especially as we've got a couple of ringers from IGT, could they perform well in XGT, given that they're a little bit more nimble, they've got the lights, they've got the grip, and these conditions could suit the Porsches?
They're licking their fingertips right now, I can tell you that. There's no doubt about it. I know I would be if I was in a GT car right now in these conditions around a track like Watkins Glen, where you need high-speed stability and a little bit less horsepower in these conditions doesn't hurt. And that's the thing about this weather, is the kind of that pestering weather. It wants to rain and then it doesn't, so it doesn't really want to make up its mind what it wants to do. But it's definitely going to keep this track plenty wet for our entire 100 miles here.
Now let me ask you this. I would presume, and you're a motorbike man just like myself, that this is the attitude when it's wet like this is more like on a motorcycle, where you're kind of on your toes a little bit. And, you know, in terms of being on top of the car, you've got to be where the grip is. You've got to feel it, right?
Yeah, it's a lot like dirt racing.
Yes.
You know, you're finding out. You're always on the search for grip. You're trying to go where they're not. You know, and seeing if there's more grip there. And it really opens up the artistic side of it, to be honest with you. And because you'll find something, and And racers, if we're anything, we're great at copying each other. So the second you see someone making time somewhere, if you don't see it, someone on your team hopefully is and giving you the message, and that can be huge. And I know for Showtime, they've got Cameron Lawrence out there with tons of experience and one of the best wet racers out there. I'm sure out there, telling them on the radio, giving them some tips and advice as well, to especially Ken Twaits, but also Justin Marks.
In a moment, you're going to see those lights go off on the Honda Civic, and we'll be racing. And it's going to be like ice skating at 160 miles an hour, I can assure you. This is where the skills of the likes of Justin Marks, who's got a huge history himself in NASCAR. He's done all 3 categories, from trucks to cup racing and to Xfinity. He has done a lot of sports car racing, and in fact, he used to be brought in as a ringer for NASCAR at places like Watkins Glen because he was a road specialist. As you can see, the lights are off on the Honda, which means Justin Marks will lead the field to green in a moment. He's trying to get as much acceleration and grip. Dyson's right there. They're going to try to bunch it all up. They're going to have a single file start, and that's important too because usually we're 2x2. Does that make any difference to your approach?
No, as a racer, you want to go side by side. That's your advantage. Sure. Starts and restarts are always your best time. So understand what the Trans Am officials here are doing, though. It's to ensure. It's something that's not uncommon in motorsports these days to see them take starts. We've seen plenty of even Formula One races abandon their standing start and go to a rolling single file start. So here we go, Jonathan Green.
Here we go, coming out of the last corner then. It is showtime for Franklin Road Apparel's Classic here at Watkins Glen. Watch those lights, they'll go to green in a moment. And there's the green flag, just out the sight there, but saw it out of the corner of my eye. Justin Marks gets away well, and already good start from Chris Dyson. He's looking up the inside as the Mission Foods turn 1, and already side-by-side racing action. Whoa, that was daring from our championship leader, but he has to settle for second place, and Marks leads the race. Look at this spray, Adam.
That was a classic example of what I was saying of go with or not.
Yeah.
All the top 3 did just that. Some of that is for vision, and some of that is to track position. We're on board with Ken Twaits maintaining that P3 position, but Justin Marks found a lot of grip out there on the outside where when you looked at Chris, when he tried to plant the power where he was at, it was not just getting it down. So good job there, great racing. It seems a single file here. Boris said right there in P4 maintaining good position there, and David Paterick right there hunting down the top, right there, ending out the top 5.
Everybody tiptoeing through the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers bus stop. And here come the GT cars as well. Watch out for those Porsches. Watch out for the Vipers. So much power, but so careful on that power, especially for Cindy Lux and the likes of Lee Saunders and those Vipers. We're on board with Dyson here, but already losing ground to Marks, and it's great that Marks is here to give him some competition.
Absolutely, I can see why. I mean, Justin's like he's at Eldora there. He's up on the cushion, just with the back end hanging out, just doing an awesome job, holding himself a nice pretty wheel, accelerating down in here. They call this the heel of the boot.
What's the toughest part of the track?
I believe it's the boot by far. It's the most technical. It's a really challenging part of the track. So basically this whole section they're in now is called the boot. And every bit of that is a very technical part. So from the carousel on in through here, I believe are the toughest parts about Watkins Glen International.
Just thinking about Ken Twaits, we're on board with him now. Surely he wants to get past Dyson as quick as he can, because Dyson's not going to fight too hard in these conditions, but Ken's got to make it clean, and he knows that Boris is behind him in that Dago lit yellow Challenger.
Well, we know that's the points battle too, right?
Yep.
As Ken Twaits is points, and if you don't think Chris Dyson knows that, you're wrong. He knows exactly who's in a points battle with and who he needs to have a gap on, and right now this is looking very, very good for Ken Twaits, and he's got, like I said, a very sharp, square head on his shoulders. So he'll keep doing what he does. It's a long race. You can see the time clicking down for 57 minutes. So there's a lot of racing left here. Go.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, what a great story, Ken Twaits. Not only is he a team owner, but he had 10 years off from racing while he obviously built his own career and was able to afford to build a team. But that's a long time away from racing. You've never done that.
I believe it was even longer.
Has it?
Yeah, no, I believe it was even longer.
Whoa, there goes Boris.
I believe it was more in the 20s, range when he last raced. So, yeah, he built a wonderful business.
There's those headlights you were talking about in the Porsche. So Ken Thwaites loses a place to Boris Said, who is, well, with his vast experience, we're talking about Justin Marks' experience. Boris Said has done every form of racing, from sports cars to NASCAR to Le Mans, you name it. And Boris, semi-retired, but when Poncho Weaver, like you said, in his own basement builds a car, Boris will race it.
Boris, yeah, absolutely, 100%. And, you know, everyone knows that these are Boris Said conditions.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that. And I even went in there, you know, my little chat with Boris beforehand. I go, man, you got to be just chomping at the bit. And he's so humble and modest. Like, he was, you know, we hope to have a good 100 miles. But, you know, he's getting a feel for the track. He's as smart as they come. And he's going to give this Poncho Weaver Dodge a good ride today, I can promise.
Well, Lowry is in 18th position, but Stephen Hammond is leading in XGT at the moment as we follow through, watching out for Saunders as well. He's 19th at the moment. We're on board with Chris Dyson, and you can hear the wheels spinning and him struggling to keep that grip. There's Paul Fix, haven't mentioned him. Paul Fix coming in for Hamid Massoud.
He's having so much fun in that Stop Flex Ford Mustang, and working with CD Racing, and he just was really, really jazzed about being a part of this group and getting out here to do this. So he's hoping to get to do some more, and you know, I think he's equally enjoyed by CD Racing and Chris Dyson. So that's a great partnership there that we could be seeing develop here in front of our very eyes here at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, Paul Fix, not a regular, but of course he was in pole here back in 2016 in Trans Am. So Fix knows his way around here for sure. As we take a look at the 72, making his way in these atrocious conditions, that's Stephen Hammond from Barrington, Illinois, in the TLM Racing Porsche GT3 991 car, and he's already had a lot of action on track, but not in these conditions, because he's done his regular job, if you like, is for IGT, so he knows the car well. They don't have to change it, and that's been a real opener, because it means that we can get more of these sorts of cars involved in Trans Am. We hope to see more. On board with Tommy Dreesy there, struggling, as you can see, with the conditions like everybody else. There is one of the crowd favorites in the Corvette of Amy Ruman.
Yeah, that was a heck of a pass by the GT car that was just made to again accelerate them further up the grid there. Made that pass on Paul Fix. So again, that's a whole other deal that we talked about with these GT cars and how competitive they're going to be in these conditions, especially as they get a feel for it. They have more adjustments, and so they have traction control and ABS, a lot of them, or most of them do. So they have those adjustments to twist on, and the severity of it. And, you know, when I hear Pippa Mann is down there driver coaching as well, so you got someone with a lot of experience on the mic with that kind of thing, you know, with those items, sharing that information. So there's a lot going on in these races, and that's, you know, when you get to know a lot of that involvement, it gets you more and more excited about the sport.
On board with Dreesy as he's chasing down Amy Ruman. And these two have had some great battles over the years. Amy Ruman, in fact, beating both Dreesy and Thwaites last time out in 2021 at Watkins Glen, finishing in front of them. Like I said, she's recovering from some surgery she had during the break, but luckily she had that 5-week break off, and so she wasn't sure how fit she would be. She hasn't been able to work out, and so this is going to be, in some ways, a better race, that she's not having to physically go as fast. But as you can see, here we go, Dreesy and Ruman, round, I don't know, 1,500?
Right, exactly. No, she, exactly what you said, to add to that sentiment, that she was very blessed and fortunate to have that break, you know, if you can be, with the health issues that she had there. But happy she's back on 100% mend, and definitely the physicality of a wet race is not as much as it is in the dry. You don't pull the G load under braking, which is the biggest thing, right? That's the biggest blunt force to the body, but also the sustained G that you take during the S's here as well. So very, very, very happy. Price, a little bit bittersweet for her. I know that she used to really, really love the wet. It's not been her favorite here lately, but and I'm sure Tommy's calling in the little bit of a taillight flicker and the single light pitiddle that we have on the back of Amy's car there, because sometimes calling in the pits are easier passes to make than those ones on the track.
And Adam, just describe to us how Tommy is driving. I'm noticing that he's just, if you like, keeping slightly to the right to avoid the spray, but keeping an eye on that tail light.
Yeah, and you know, we call it the rain line too. You'll see that they're not racing in the traditional line, and that's because You know, down there, obviously, it's been polished too. It's been polished from the cars running on it over the time on the rain line, but also oils and all the rubber. And rubber's a petroleum-based product, obviously. So you mix rain with all that, and it just gets really, really super slick. So we call it the rain line. And so when you're behind a car, you try to take advantage of the rain line as much as possible, but you also need to see. And they're taking advantage of the rain line in front of you. So it becomes an added challenge. You know, as we're seeing this starting to add up to be a 3-car battle here between Ken Twait's a GT car here that we have of the 72 of Stephen Hamann, and then we also have right there again said Paul Fix. So this is going to be a good little battle here, and you can see how these GT cars are up against these monsters here in the wet.
Yeah, I spoke to Stephen Hammond earlier in the weekend, and you know, he's really excited for this because this is his first real Trans Am run, and he's delighted because the mechanics don't need to change the car from IGT. In terms of preparation, it's a car he's comfortable in, obviously, because he races it every weekend, and he could be on the podium in this race overall, as well as what he's doing at the moment, which is leading in XGT.
It's a beautiful race car too. I love the play on the Martini. Martini Rossi that they have there with the Martini Hammond. So beautiful stuff. Glad to have him here, and a new addition, like you said, to the Trans Am paddock, and not new to these Speed Tour weekends per se, but really fortunate to have him and that team as a part of this paddock. So congratulations to the run so far, and looking forward to the rest of the 100 miles for them.
Well, I'm glad my director's sticking with this battle because we've got 2 former Trans Am champions going at it. Tommy trying desperately to get past, but I'll tell you what, Ruman's not going to give it in easily. She does give it in at the bus stop, but now watch her follow him because these two are maestros at it. I was talking to one of the old-timers here at Watkins. Oh, no! Out goes the 55. That's a Grant. And he'll need a Grant to fix that.
Milton Grant's out. That's a darn shame. Like to pan out, you see where that might be. But,
yep, the man from Germantown, Tennessee, one of 3 Grants in the race. And sadly, he's hit.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like one of those baby blue barriers, as you called them.
That's out of the heel of the boot. So that's downhill, off camber. And the thing is, I'm suspect it might have touched the curbs there. The painted curbs here can be very slick under the wet, and so we may get a possibility of a replay on that to show us exactly what happened. But that's what I'm suspect of right there. Ken being really cautious and smart as they come around. But he hit on the paint right there. See the curb on the exit,
yeah. Well, we
and
saw
it'll cross you over.
This particular corner where he went off, we saw right at the beginning of the day 2 cars going off in SVRA. So that is probably the slippiest corner on the track at the moment. So we have a caution. We're under caution, and this does change the complexion just slightly of the race as we go through, and this is going to give Justin Marks some pause for thought. It allows Chris Dyson to catch up, but we are very privileged to be listening to the sounds of Adam Andretti, who's raced these machines for many a year. What do you do? How does it change now under caution? What do you do? Let's put you in, let's say, Dyson's position. How do you go about this?
Right now, you're starting to kind of analyze exactly where you were at with your car. Brake bias, especially, those are some of the adjustments you have. These have sway bar adjustments. Chances are in these conditions, you're full soft front and rear. But you may tweak on that a little bit depending on your balance, right? If you have...
Well, tell us about that. Okay, where do you balance the brakes normally?
So if you have... normally in the wet,
I know it's preference, Mike.
Yeah, it's always preference. But in the wet, you would discuss with the engineers, and engineers will give you a guideline. But it's usually a rear bias because you don't want to go to a front lockup.
Right.
So you're on a rear bias so that you can keep your steering underneath you, and that's a big part of that. And
I'm guessing that pushes the car down as you approach a fast corner, and therefore gives you a bit more stability.
It definitely settles the car down, and you're doing all your braking in a straight line in the wet anyway, so it's not like locking the rears as you turn. The other thing is too is these cars, like we mentioned, is the sway bars. You have adjustments from full soft to full stiff, and I mentioned probably started at full soft, to get the most grip. As they drove, they might have made adjustments as they drove too, depending on the balance. If you were loose, the back end of the car, oversteer was coming around, then you may want to go ahead and stiffen the front bars a little bit to take that away. And vice versa with the rear. If you were sliding the front around, you would want to maybe stiffen up the rear to start to even that out a little bit. So there's plenty of adjustment here. You would definitely be going back and forth with your team and your engineers.
What would you want to know from your engineer at this point?
Very little. I mean, it's so early. It's absolutely so early. You know, Justin wants really probably no information. You know, he had pulled a gap and was maintaining it comfortably. We saw no drama out of him, so he's just going to keep his head down doing what he's doing. I mean, a 2:07.7 pace in these conditions is pretty impressive. So I think that's going to be very, very good. And you know, here in the Porsche, he's really excited about this yellow because it bunched it up right as he was getting a very, very good feel for that 911 GT3.
I wouldn't count him out for a potential podium or win here. I know the cars ahead of him are a lot more powerful, but in these conditions, it's a leveler, as you've mentioned already. As you can see, the lights are off on the Civic. That means we're going racing again. Take us through it. What does Marks have to do?
Well, Justin Marks, you know, he's got to keep doing what he's doing. It's that simple. I mean, he has not put a wheel wrong. He's got a good feel for it. He's pulling a gap. Chris Dyson is not taking any unnecessary risk. He doesn't need to. He's a reigning champion. If all goes right today, he could clinch it here today, and the next two races are just fun and games for him. So that's where his head's at, and I can promise you, one of the smartest racers out there with Boris breathing down his neck. With so little past history there, I don't see him putting up too horrible of a fight.
Well, you've all heard the song Slippery When Wet. Well, that's what exactly it is, because we're about to go racing at a very slippery Watkins Glen here at the Franklin Road Apparel Classic. Away goes Marks in the mist. And these gorillas are just that, gorillas in the mist. As another restart. Dyson looks to the inside for two reasons. One, maybe an overtake. Two, to stay out of the spray. Boris Said is up to third. Amy Ruman is just ahead of Ken Thwaites. And now Hammond is creeping up on Ken Thwaites. Watch for the overtake about to happen on him.
Amy got an awesome restart there. What a great restart she jumped out on here. I mean, she gained like 3 or 4 spots.
Yeah.
It's tough to do. It's really, really tough to do under this new rule as far as us staying single file across the line. So she did a great job at taking advantage of that. So happy to see her jump right to that P4 right behind Boris Said. And you look at the Steven right there, Hammond, going on the inside of Ken Thwaites at the bus stop, showing him that 911, what it can do. Well, beautiful, beautiful job.
Yeah, but look, watch Dreesy now coming. He's tucked himself up right behind Thwaites. And Tommy Dreesy in the Lucas number 8 will be wanting to get past. We go on board with Tommy. This is his view, or lack of it.
Yeah, because that's an important battle for second in the points. You know, Dreesy came into this only 1 point behind Ken Thwaites.
That's right.
So this is a very, very important points battle between these two. And then Amy Ruman, who sits right in front of him, you know, comes in this thing 4th in points and only 5 points off of Dreesy and 6 points off of Ken Thwaites. So we are literally looking at that championship points battle from P2 to P4. So who's the best of the rest after Chris Dyson and CD Racing is what we're looking at here.
Yeah, a total of 35 points up for grabs in each and every race, but most of the races will score points. 241 is what Dyson started on. Ken Thwaites at 176, and 1 point behind was Tommy Dreesy. Oh, off goes
no.
Hammond! Oh, no!
No.
That is disaster. He'd done so much right, and it's all ended up in the gravel.
And something's wrong with Ken Thwaites. We have a mechanical here for Ken. Shame for Franklin Road Apparel. And
oh, it's a puncture.
No, it's not a puncture because he would have made it back to pit road. I think he's got a different mechanical failure that's put him off to the side there. He was under power, but it's very, very interesting. Maybe Ben or somebody down there on pit road will get a word from Gary.
Yeah, commentator's blind, I think, because I was hoping that Hammond would have a huge win there, but sadly he's gone off. Let's hope he recovers. Adam, what do you see?
Well, right here, you know, it's slick there because you can see Boris and Amy hanging on for dear life as they come through the heel of the boot. Oh, on the outside of Ken Thwaites. Ken was already having a mechanical, it seems, and that caught Steven out. So that was not necessarily a driver error by any means. That was just a poor bad luck of circumstance. So I think Ken Thwaites was having the mechanical issue that he was having, and Steven misjudged. And that's hard. That's very easy to do when you're caught in the spray of one of these monsters. So I feel so bad for that group. They had such a strong showing going here, and that went all to pot for really no big, nobody's fault. That was absolutely no fault deal.
I love rain races because it really does show the pure skill that it takes to wheel one of these 850 horsepower beasts around a track. And yeah, this is not an easy job. And you can see, look, the mist on Tommy's car. He's just about being able to see, but not much more.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of fog, which is going to make it hard when you're coming up to the right-hand turns, which good thing is there's only a few here, but coming up here you see the toe of the boot, as we call it, as he goes to make that right-hand turn over there in turn 7. Yeah. That right there, you can see. He can't see the apex, right? It's 180 degrees, so I'm sure if I know Tommy, he's got his thumb on the button there telling him back that we don't have full defrost across this windshield. It's certainly affecting part of his performance, but he's doing a heck of a job there. He's got himself into a top 5, and he's doing himself a fantastic job.
Yeah, there's really nothing you can do about it, but keep watching the graphics on the bottom of the screen and notice just how fast he's actually going. Slowest is about 55 miles an hour, which was just a moment ago, but already over 100 miles an hour. Oh, look at this. Yeah, like ballroom dancing.
Yeah, I'm telling you, turn 8 right there is slick, and it's slick in the dry, so in the wet I can only imagine because it's so off camera there. But I believe I want to say Stephen Hammond got himself out of that gravel trap because we never saw full course caution, and I believe that would have been something that brought it out. That would have been a precarious place. So very, very good job there, but that was some heads-up driving.
This is Jody Miller, another man who's come from the IGT championship in that TLM car, beautifully prepared again. So very similar cars. They park next to each other, even though they're rivals, these two. And sadly, one going off, but Jody Miller still circulating well, and he's got a great chance now.
Well, he's sitting P9, which is fantastic. You know, he's got Kerry Hitt right there. That's who we saw sliding around dirt tracking it, was Kerry Hitt. He's in the latest and greatest variation of the Camaros that his company produces, ACP produces. So, you know, they produce the bodies for these wonderfully looking and awesomely efficient Trans Am cars. That we're seeing a very battle between Amy Ruman, two-time champ, and Tommy Dreese here going at it. I mean, these two have the best history that you can imagine. You can maybe hear the giggle in my voice there, but for the hardcore Trans Am fans, you know where I'm at on that. But they're going to go out there and they're going to race hard each other, that's for sure, every lap.
Well, Paul Fix is joining that battle too, so it's going to be a three-way battle between some of our most experienced TA drivers over the history of the last 10 years. But Dreese, not an easy, can't lean over and wipe it down either. He's strapped in.
No, it's funny you say that, though. You know those little extension hands that you have between the windshield. That's part of that was spray, right? And I mean,
fantastic overtake.
The car seems like it jumps out of nowhere on you when you do that. And I mean, the closure rate is incredible. So great heads up for Tommy. And it shows the level of focus you have to have every second that you're out here. As we look here on board with Chris Dyson, and it just kind of highlights and accentuates exactly what he's going through out there. I mean, nothing is okay in these conditions, that's for sure.
So let me ask you this: how come Dyson has got the perfect screen? Is that just preparation?
I mean, you're looking at a group of individuals that's been endurance racing and preparing for these conditions for over 30 years. Scotty and the gang down there at CD Racing, they know exactly what you need to do to keep these windshields dry and clear, and that's all comfort level for the driver too. When you can give them that level of comfort, they can put down these performances like you're seeing in Chris Dyson and Justin Marks, right? Justin Marks, he seems to find this 2.5 seconds, and they say, hey, Justin, you got 2.5, and he shuts it off right there and just makes it roll. But really, really good stuff here from these two great champions of motorsport.
Once again, though, Justin Marks building that lead at the front. Dyson's not too worried about him. He's not fighting him for the championship. He'd love to win this race, but he may get the chance, but he's not going to push it, that's for sure. We're under yellow.
Yeah, full course caution is out right now for the Trans Am race. Don't know right where yet.
There it is, confirmed that.
Can be tricky to spot, sometimes where it can be in these conditions also for our crews. So there's David Paterick. We know it's not him.
Nope. It's also not the car behind, which is the car number 6.
It's
Larry
Amy
Bailey.
Sound reports are coming in that we got Amy Ruman.
Oh, no.
So hopefully everything's okay there. And
where it's at
yet? Justin, visor down,
now, hang
head
on a
down.
minute. His wipers have stopped.
You know what, though, at the speed that these things carry, you gotta. That's not the most crucial part of your vision. The most crucial part of your vision Well, I'm telling you, I'm in there. The most crucial part of your vision is the fogging. If he's not fogging up, he's fine.
Yeah.
You know, when you start going over 90 miles an hour, they've got enough treatment, you know, like a Rain-X style treatment on the windshield that stuff will just fly right off.
But if Dyson were able to get a better start at the restart, then he'd have a problem.
Well, the spray would affect it, especially as they got to the low speed stuff, but it's not the worst. He's not sitting there exactly. So I tell you what, sometimes I turn my wipers off because they're worse for you than better. So he might have shut them off. You don't know.
That's a good point. Well, listen, we're under caution here at the Glen. Adam Andretti and Jonathan Green. We're going to get our galoshes on. We'll see you in a moment.
Speed, endurance, desire. For 160 years, Motul has helped engines and drivers go faster, further, and stronger. Tested in the heat of battle, driven with passion, with one aim: to give you superior powertrain protection and performance. Motul.
Welcome back. And, well, we got the answer to our question. Justin Marks' wipers are fine. He's got them back on again. He did. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Well, he has got the best view because he's got no spray at the moment. But at this restart, it could be crucial because now Dyson has another crack at it. And obviously, when they get behind the safety car, they all bunch up again. And that changes the dimension of the race. We've had a few offs already. That's why we're under caution. We're under caution right now because we believe Amy Ruman's gone off as well. But we had a little fisticuff between Thwaites and Hammond. And not quite sure what happened, but we're going to find out in a moment, I'm pretty sure. There's Tommy Tracy, and again, that view is not great at all.
It's only going to make. I mean, you can see the difference between his and the other cars we've been on board with. You know, it's when you were even talking about. I mean, like I said with Justin, windshield wipers, his wipers aren't on. That's not his problem. The problem is the fog. He's fine. He can see perfectly fine until he looks to the right, and so that's when it becomes tricky.
So we're under caution here at the Glen. This is Trans Am Racing, the championship on the line. It's being led at the moment by Chris Dyson, as it has for the last 16 straight races, dating back to Lime Rock 2021, where he won and took the lead from Ernie Francis, and he hasn't looked back. That's how dominant. He's the Verstappen of our championship, if you will, because he has just dominated. Chris Dyson grew up watching his father race here at the Glen, and they claim this and Lime Rock as their home races. Poughkeepsie is where Dyson hails from, just down the road, and Tony Pirelli likewise lives just 30 minutes away from here. So it's a special weekend for a lot of the drivers and organisers here at Watkins Glen. Do you like racing here?
Oh, of course. I mean, I wouldn't be able to call myself a driver if I didn't love racing at Watkins Glen. This is one of the absolute best classic places, and I think Ken Thwaites said it yesterday, to have Franklin Road Apparel just associated with the great facility that is Watkins Glen International, the global presence that it has, one of the best on earth. So yeah, I absolutely love being here at the Glen.
Now, we've mentioned two TLM cars out there, both Porsches, one with Jody Miller and the other with Steve Hammond, who came together. Let's talk to the crew chief at TLM and find out just what happened. He's with Ben.
Well, welcome back. I'm here with David Lear, crew chief with TLM. First, I got to say, what's up, people, to David Tuwati.
What's up, people?
It's kind of a new race here with Trans Am and TLM. Steve Hammond was having a great showing, moved his way up to, I think, 5th place. Then what's the driver telling you? What happened?
He really hasn't told us much. He was doing great up until the restart, the safety car situation. And then in the restart, in the rain, he got in touch with somebody else, and just they took him out, and that was it. But it's just a racing incident. We're happy to be here, and our other drivers, Jody Miller, he's doing great. So we're just happy to be here. And again, what's up, people?
Nice, and I love it. And in this kind of rain, Jody Miller and Hammond had a little bit of an advantage. We've got Pippa Mann up there at turn 1 talking to Jody Miller, and I'm sure she's giving him the best strategy we can. So keep in contact with these XGT, SGT, and GT cars in this rain. Anything can happen. Gentlemen, back to you.
Thanks, Ben. Good stuff. And if you're not familiar with who Pippa Mann is, she's an English racing driver who has, in her past and present, competed in the Indy 500. She's been a proponent of single-seater racing for a long time. I remember watching her as a young 18-year-old in Formula Renault coming through the ranks. She came to America many years ago, and she's been a huge proponent for women in racing and continues to represent well. She's a teammate to Jody Miller and, if you will, mentor to Jody. She doesn't do a lot of driving in IGT, so she likes to do this kind of stuff, which is mentoring, and she's doing just that today, and evidently down at turn 1. Always nice to have somebody in your corner.
Absolutely, and Pippa's a wealth of information, and she's calm and knows exactly what kind of input. We've talked about that as our organization this weekend, is the best people to have on the radio are those that have driven, because they know what kind of information you need, they know when you need it, and when it's okay to do it. Because the timing of it is so crucial too. You don't want to catch them in the middle of a downshift in a braking zone and be trying to give your driver information, right? You got to find those moments. And Watkins Glen has plenty of those where the drivers, not doing much of anything or kind of, ready for some information. So it's saw some debris actually fly off one of the cars there. So, but yeah, it's a great story. It's great to see them here, and I love the way he put it. That it was a racing deal. Was nothing intentional. That was just a bad circumstance because Ken Twaits was having his own mechanical at the time, and so just wrong place, wrong time, and boy, if I had a nickel for every time I've seen that in motorsports.
Yeah, no kidding. And what, just thinking, we were saying that turn 8 is probably the most slippy, but I noticed that turn 9 at the bottom of that hill, as this race continues and these conditions continues, do you start thinking about how much of that water is running down and then effectively making turn 9 even slippier?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Every time, I mean, it looks like it's intensified for one. We said the luxury of our booth here, Jonathan Green, that we don't know what Ben Sizzle's exactly going through down there, but
he's loving it.
Yeah, I know he is. He's not going to melt. I know that much. He's too good of a man. But what I'm saying about that is, it looks like it's intensified. And anytime the weather intensifies, of course, everything they just got used to has changed, right? All the dry or the spots that used to have a little less water, well, hey, they got water on them again. So it's going to be a very interesting restart.
Well, we're hearing it's green next time by, which is great news, and the clock is ticking down on this race. Justin Marks continues to lead. Marks coming in for a one-off. Like I said, he's a NASCAR owner for Trackhouse. His two men have both had wins this year, Chastain and Daniel Suarez. In fact, in TA2, in your race yesterday, he was carrying Suarez's number, so he's out there representing.
Yeah, absolutely, getting it done, and that's what makes us tune in, right? Is these stories? Oh, look at the fans here, Boris.
Boris, I love it. And they've all got the haircuts.
Oh, of course they do.
Great stuff from our cameraman.
I remember being here when my brother John was in the Cup Series. And, Boris was doing one of the one-offs here at love this.
This is great. She's got the little checkered flag on and the haircut, but yeah, no, we've lost an R.
Yeah, we dropped the R.
Okay, let's get that R back up. Come on, I. What are you doing, I? Get up. We're watching you. There you go.
The youngins aren't as enthused about Boris.
What is my parents making me do on a Sunday? Who is Boris? They probably think it's Boris Johnson, the ex-prime minister.
There you go. But back to the story. I was with my brother John. We're on pit road, and across from there must have been 5,000 of them, all chanting at the same time. Who said? Boris said.
Oh, God, that's great.
And they all had those wigs on, and so to see that flavor still here, and like I said, I can't thank the fans here enough all weekend long. But those diehard ones that stayed put during this weather, you know, when you're camping here, the grounds aren't exactly like the most terra firma, as we could say, but these diehard fans have been here with us, and we love you for it.
Now, there's that sitting water I was talking about at 9. Look,
look at the debris there, too.
Yep, you got debris, you got water, we got the lights out on the safety car. Justin Marks will lead us to the green again. And if you don't know who Boris Said is, he's got a storied history. He's raced about everything in North America and around the world. His son is coming into play, too. He's in the playoffs, in SVRA playoffs, in Mazda as well. So watch out for him coming up. And yes, he has the same curly hair, although he's not quite as tall quite yet. Here we go then. We're about to go racing again. One more corner now for Justin Marks to prepare himself to go racing. He's got the Trackhouse colours, as you can see on the front of the hood. But now Dyson's got his chance. Will he make his move now? Because he's been in second throughout this race, and Justin Marks has been able to stay right ahead of him. Let's watch for the green flag from the mist.
Tommy Dreese's looking racy too on this restart as we go green right here into turn 1.
On board with Dyson in second place. You can see how bad it is. Here comes Boris. Those fans will be happy, but so too. Right behind him, as you mentioned, Tommy Dreese right there in 4th position, and behind him is Paul Fix.
Yeah, Tommy seems to have found, oh my goodness, so he is flying blind up the S's. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't tell you how tough of a job he's got in front of him right now. I mean, this is so disappointing for him. It's a struggle as a driver, right? You're stuck in there, and you just want to pull through, but at some time you got to really look for your own safety and the safety of your fellow competitors. So hopefully that clears up as speed comes, but sometimes the cautions really, if you're fogging, just makes it so much worse.
Well, as you know, Tommy's often been very generous and lent us his radio during races. I'd love to hear it today. He's going to be spitting and shouting and screaming at his engineers. I can't see.
Well, yeah, and honestly, rightfully so. Yeah. You know, there's something that you definitely want out of your car, and that's when we're racing in the rain, you want that wet weather prep.
This is good stuff. Aaron Pierce just got Cindy Lux behind him. They just passed one of the Jody Miller Porsche, who seems to have slowed a little bit. Here's Chris Dyson, still in second place, still with 24 minutes to go, holding on to the grip or whatever grip there is out there. Then it's not a lot, I can assure you.
Well, I can tell you right now from looking at Chris's windshield, he doesn't want too many more cautions because he's starting to fog up.
Yes.
So, and that was one of the better prep cars that we saw earlier. So I'm sure. Now look at Justin really trying to let that 900 horsepower eat in this weather, isn't he?
Look at the sitting water, Adam.
Oh, the weather does look like it intensified.
Oh no, Boris almost lost it.
No, I think he's out there trying to find dry. You can see how it's drier out here.
Yeah, I see your point.
And Boris is savvy, I'm telling you. He's not going somewhere for no reason.
No. Well, this is good racing. Aaron Pierce is in a real battle here for SGT with the 44 of Cindy Lux, and that's really impressive stuff. She's always good, but she's excellent. And so, excuse me, that's Lee Saunders, the other Viper, my fault. Former champion, Lee Saunders from Lakeland, Florida. He's in the battle with Pierce.
Well, Aaron Pierce, a fellow Hoosier, of mine. He's Sam Pierce Chevrolet is their family's Chevrolet dealership there in Indiana, and so it's always good to see Aaron in the Trans Am paddock, and always even better to see him up front and in class for him racing. So he's got a hold of that Corvette, the only GT car without the headlights on. So I kind of like that style that he's rolling. True race car.
And hats off to our cameramen who are doing a great job of spotting these cars. And there's no question, my mate Lake's beard's probably gone about 4 feet longer in this wet because it's growing right now because the water is pouring down. It's been raining since early morning this morning. Jody Miller has dropped back decisively in the last few moments. He's dropped down to 10th position. He's behind Saunders and Pierce in their battle. And this is a really intriguing battle because Pierce is holding on to the lead in SGT. And Saunders, a bit like Cindy Lux, is a faithful Viper man. He's won the championship for SGT in that Viper, and he continues to choose that particular weapon to go racing, the man from Florida. And look how close it is as they come out of the bus stop.
I love it, and it's also cool to see. It's cool to see, Cindy Lux and Dirk in that, or Jody Miller, in that battle as well. But it's really cool to see a Corvette and a Viper, American muscle, like at its peak level. Detroit, right? Modern Detroit muscle. is at the forefront of this battle in the wet, which is pretty darn cool to me.
Yep, and we're going back to Detroit soon, so looking forward to that. Bailey at the back, no time for him, and likewise, as you saw, Grant going out early in his Porsche, but we're back on board with Chris Dyson. 21 minutes to go, and we're getting down to the business end of this race. I think Dyson's quite happy to settle the second place today, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's, you know, it's about points right now, and he can't seal the championship today because apparently he needed to get pole position to be able to do that because he needed maximum points. So sorry for that misinformation that I gave earlier, but
no, that's exactly
you know,
right. The full 35 was on.
Let's go ahead and say, for all intents and purposes, it'd be pretty hard for him to throw this one away at this point. But he's a consummate professional. You know, his dad Rob is here, so that makes it extra special always. And you know, because Rob is such a legend of the sport. He's not a Hall of Famer, which shocks me. Like, Rob Dyson should be in a Motorsport Hall of Fame absolutely somewhere, and he's not, which is absolutely shocking to me. But nonetheless, you know, because he's made such an impact on our sport, and such a lasting impact, and carried into another generation with his son, obviously, Chris. So, you know, it's fantastic to have them here, and I know Chris wants to win this race, but I know he's also big picture thinking. And the smile that's on his face with him Trans Am racing, that's what his dad and I were talking about yesterday on the TA2 grid. His dad was so impressed with the size of the TA2 grid and the growth of that class. But at the same time, he sees how much joy. Ooh, Kerry hit all over the brakes.
Luckily, he's been able to go through the bus stop there. He takes out a Bollard, but that's okay. Luckily, he did it there under braking because he was able to gather it all and not go completely off track, and that's really lucky for him. But he's just about to get involved in this battle for SGT. They're 8th and 9th overall, these two, but they're still going on. Great stuff by Pierce. And yeah, you mentioned having you know, a dad like that. The pressure is on. If you've got a family member, and I don't know, I'm thinking of another family that I know called Andretti. I think it adds a little bit of pressure when you're racing, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, oh, look at Dreesy now. He's almost fogged shut. That's a shame.
He's got to stop,
but,
surely.
I mean, you know, well, we'll hang on. He'll hang on, and I know Tommy. He's brave, and he knows the track well, and he's gonna try. Look at him. He hasn't lost really a whole lot of ground.
He's given up on the wipers.
To Boris said, yeah, he doesn't need it. I mean, he doesn't even figure he needs it. So, but yeah, that's a darn shame right there to see that thing fogging shut on him now. But yeah, but back to your point, it's the pressure you have, you apply to yourself.
Right.
I don't honestly think maybe in the public's eyes or someone else's eyes, you would have, the media's eyes, you'd have more pressure on you, but that internal pressure you put on yourself. You know, Chris as a competitor, myself, for example, I looked at my cousin Michael, my brother John, the other second generation, and it's all the same amount. You know, it's just different.
Yes.
You know, obviously, you know, there's a different set of expectations for Chris Dyson.
Check this out, Adam. Here's our leader. And if you think he's not struggling out there, check that out. That's good control.
I'm telling you, Justin Marks, he's known for his car control.
Yeah.
That's what makes him so darn good in these big, heavy cars. In any condition, I don't care if it's wet or dry, he's good in these cars that require that level of car control. Fast hands. Look how fast those hands are moving. Yeah. He knows, and he's feeling it before it's happening. So he's holding such a pretty wheel and really schooling the class of the field here today.
Well, I'm ready to start a rumor and to lay down the gauntlet. Justin Marks, come and join us full-time in Trans Am. We know you love it. Your team's going good. It's starting to win. You don't need to be in NASCAR every weekend. Come racing with us 13 weekend. Why not?
I think he would love to do nothing more. And yeah, I would like to lay down that gauntlet for him as well because he's a great addition to the paddock. Trackhouse alone, their presence, their professionalism, the way they're represented, their style, even their styling cues. Everything about them, you just admire what they have going on. To see them in our paddock, to have a presence like we see in Brent Cruz in TA2, and we love to see Justin Marks here every weekend.
Oh no! Out goes the 45.
Oh, that's going to be Cindy Lux. Oh, poor Cindy. I hate to see that.
She has hit the barrier hard, and that engine right at the front there.
Her and I have a special bond. You know, she did.
Great character.
She went and got checked because of checking for Andretti, and she was caught early, and she attributes my brother John to saving her.
Here's what happened.
Check it for Andretti, folks, and we're going to take a look here at Cindy Lux, and unfortunate luck here. She grabbed a little bit too curved there. Oh, that's a hard hit.
It is a hard hit.
Oh, that's a hard hit, Cindy.
At the bus stop there, and unfortunately
Well, now our thoughts are with Cindy. Hopefully she's okay. She's definitely she's tough competitor, a tough woman. And I hope Cindy's okay there.
While we're under caution, and no surprise, that brings out another caution, and Justin Marks will have to wait again, but he gets to relax a little bit. But he made a really good point to me. He said, not only do I love driving these monsters, because it's fun, and it's real pure racing, as we always say in Trans Am, but he also said to me yesterday, because he also did your race, TA2, and he said, you know what? He said, there's a lot of reason for me to be here. I'm watching Brent Cruz, I'm watching Jesse Love, I'm watching these guys coming through, Austin Green, all these youngsters that potentially could be drivers for him in the future. That's what they want to do.
Well, that's where you learn to race at a place like TA2. You really do. And what I mean by that is Brent Cruz.
14 years of age.
Well, that's what I'm getting to. He's 14 years of age and talent, more talent in a fingernail than most of us have in our whole body. So he's incredibly talented. But his racecraft, when he first came into TA2, was not all that great. His racecraft has become so polished. I've been so impressed with that level of step up, and I honestly attribute TA2 and the competitors he has to race against to get there. We've seen it in Connor Mosack. His racecraft has come up tenfold. So I see what TA2 does mainly for the racecraft, because you're going to fight no matter where you're at, and you're going to fight people that don't want to give up an inch. And that is like true short track racing on a road course. And now that NASCAR is stacking up road courses left and right, basically built a road course car for its next gen car, let's face it. Of course, Justin Marks should be looking here, should be carrying his talent through these series, because it's going to be important as they make that stepping stone into his daytime, what he likes to call his daytime job, right? That's the NASCAR teams.
Yeah, Connor Zilic, under the management of Kevin Harvick currently, trains with him. Just 16 years of age, another one, jumped out of nowhere, to our minds anyway, last year, or a couple of years ago now, VIR, taking the pole position. He's another one on his way. And there's no question that one of the points he made to me yesterday, Connor, he said, what I love about racing here is I can learn from Morris Hull, I can learn from all these people about what it's like to go racing without the pressure of, let's say, being in NASCAR. Now, we've got some more information about what happened to Ken Thwaites. Let's head down once again to Ben Sissel.
Hey, I'm at the pits at the Franklin Road Apparel Classic with Mr. Franklin Road himself, Ken Thwaites. Ken, rough luck there in the early stages with you and Steve Hammond. What happened out there?
Well, it's raining pretty hard. The visibility is pretty bad. I let him by me, we're not racing each other, and we came up to the heel of the boot, and, he stopped pretty quickly. I went up inside him. I wasn't really racing him. He didn't see me. We touched, and he broke my front suspension, so we're out.
But it's not over. The Franklin Road car is winning with Justin Marks. What are you hearing out there? He's made some unbelievable saves in this nasty weather.
Yeah, he's a good driver. He's just searching for grip out there. The rain is coming down harder than it has been all day, so it's getting worse and worse traction-wise. So he's just looking for grip. He's got a pretty good advantage, it looks like, on Chris. But, these restarts, anything can happen.
All right, well, gentlemen, you heard it right here from Ken Thwaites at the Franklin Road Apparel Classic. Back to you.
Great stuff, Ben. Yeah, despite the fact that the boss is out, it could be a big day for the Franklin Road Apparel Classic.
Yeah, Ken, I'm glad he gave us another perspective, because all we saw was the tail end of that, Jonathan.
Yeah, well, let's take another look at it, Adam. And now we know that information.
Yeah, exactly.
I want you to kind of analyze it differently, perhaps, than what we just saw, because obviously we got a really good insight there. Ken. Let's take a look at it, Adam.
Right, because the earlier replay was just really the tail end of it. Now that we got more of the insight from the early on, so yeah, he's hard on the brakes here, down to the inside. Oh yeah, I see. Yeah. No, that's a challenge, right? What we're betting on as a faster paced car in these class races that we're in. What you're betting on is you're betting on Here we go. Here's another look at it. We'll see just the tail end of it as they come in here. Yeah, right there at the tail end. But yeah, what you're betting on is that they see you, right? Like the slower class cars see you, and that's, I'm sure, where Ken was at on that. But I misread that. I'm sorry for miscalling that earlier, that Ken had a mechanical failure. No, that was a result of the contact that they had there. But I can see Ken's frustration because this is class racing, and that took Ken out of his hunt. And that's a huge blow to him in the championship, too. You know, he came into this P2 in the championship with only, 2 rounds after this to go, Jonathan Green. So that's pretty tough for him to swallow, I'm sure.
Well, I got some good news for you and the fans. Cindy Luck's A-OK. She's spoken to her team. She's been on the radio to her engineer. A little bit sore, as you can imagine, but she's okay. I
promise you it knocked the wind out of her, but that's a blessing to hear that she's okay, and thank you for that information, because that's important for all of us to know, her family and friends at home, and all the Cindy Luck's race fans, or any race fan out there. We don't want to see anything like that, and that was a hard lick.
Well, these conditions are atrocious, Adam, and let's take a look at just how hard it is for some of these drivers. You're just struggling with these conditions. Out of 8 again, and 9 here. That's Danny Lowry, who had an off earlier in the weekend. That's just one example.
But see, that's kind of a rain line here, and that's what I was trying to explain earlier. There's some good pavement up there, and it's not, you may take a longer way around, but, when you can get to the throttle more, that's all right. Justin Marks here, look at that, hold on the wheel, and just that 900 horsepower is a grunt. And all right here. Cindy, yeah. Oh, my goodness.
Ooh, that's
Hold your breath, people, because that's a hard hit.
Well, that's why we're under caution at the moment. And
yeah, that's going to take a minute to clean up, because you got to repair the wall and all that. But here's our replays.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't forget, CBS Sports Network, Trans Am Watkins Glen, presented by Franklin Road Apparel. You can watch it in full again on September 18 at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. So tell your friends if you enjoyed what the action you saw, and it'll also be repeated at 8:30 p.m. Pacific. That's all on September 8.
That's the night owl replay, yes, for people like me that are up at 11:30 on the East Coast. But yeah, it's great to see the support we have.
You still sleeping standing up?
Yeah, knees locked like a racehorse.
I don't know what we're going to do with you, Andretti.
Yeah, well, they've been saying about that for 43 years. Since I came into this wonderful world. But
I got to ask you, what's Thanksgiving like at the Andretti household? Does Mario hold court? I've seen his Christmas tree.
Yeah, our Christmas is really the holiday we gather as devout Catholics and our family. That's a very important holiday, and we enjoy it together as a family. I'll be honest with you, Thanksgiving is spent with my wife and her family. They're New Englanders.
Oh, right.
So that's,
so you're going to get you're in a food coma most of the weekend.
I could tell you, I never would have thought that parts of the country do that tradition that we're going to have here in a couple months differently. But New England, where it was the birth of the tradition,
yep,
I'm telling you, they do it differently. It's like the 5 days of Mardi Gras.
I'll bet. Now, I've just heard from Race Control that those lights that you see just in the distance are going to go out fairly soon as we come through the bus stop, and that means it's going to be her last hurrah, really, for Justin Marks. The last time he's going to have to do a restart, and the last time that Chris Dyson, I say that, but is going to have another crack. As you can see, Boris said in third, and Tommy Dreesy needs to get past Boris if he can.
Yeah, and I tell you, he wants that. He wants those points, right? He wants to keep this heat on Dyson. He doesn't want Chris going home on that short drive back to Poughkeepsie, as you mentioned.
Yeah, exactly.
He wants it in his head on that drive home that, hey, you got to go to VIR and you got to lay down the stink, or else, because Tommy is very fast at VIR. He's had a very successful career there, so it's going to be interesting to see here. And you can see Justin starting to test the grip levels.
Yep.
Trying to get some heat back into some things there, but he is definitely on another plane here this weekend, and showing why he is who he is.
This has been a long delay too, so there's a lot of water come down on the track in the last 10 minutes or so, and Justin Marks is going to have to be wary of that, which he will be. But this is going to be a really tough finish for both Marks and Dyson, and possibly Dreesy. That's the battle. We're also watching the battle in SGT because Pierce has been holding on. 7.5 minutes to go in this race. The lights are off on the safety car. Watch for the water down here. Look how much there is down here at the bottom of 9. Got to be so careful, Marks. I reckon about 3 laps, Adam, and that's going to be exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be an exciting end of the race here, and And, you know, as we're coming on board here with Chris Dyson, you know, we've got our winner's circle representative, Pius, has just joined us up here in the booth. You know, Pius, tell us just, well, we can't right now. We're getting ready to go green, but we really want to talk about winner's circle here in a little bit and what you guys are accomplishing. But this is the end of the race. We've got to make sure it's exciting.
Okay, so we're about to go racing. We'll hear about the winner's circle in a moment, but the safety car comes off. Justin Marks heads down the main straight here at Watkins Glen. Dyson tucked up right behind him. Dreesy's looking for a way fast as well. We're coming down to the last 6 minutes of this race. We go green and down to the Mission Foods turn 1. I promise you it's there. You just can't see it.
Oh, big rear lock up there by Chris Dyson. They could hear the engine go soft, and he's got some fogging up underneath the caution. Tommy Dreesy got around Boris said with all that fogged up windshield. Tommy Dreesy got around Boris, and that's his sights set on the 2021 champ of Chris Dyson.
Oh, Dyson's fogged up completely now.
He cannot see. You can hear him off throttle, up the S's. Well, he is struggling.
Dreesy's got an opportunity here, but he can't see either. It was fixed that came unfixed at the last corner there in Masood's car. Out of the mist come the Gorillas, and here they are coming into the bus stop one more time. 5 minutes to go. Dreesy got a chance now to maybe get a point or two ahead on Dyson and keep this championship alive. He's got past Boris said.
That rain has intensified. You could tell when they went down the back straightaway there, you could not even see Chris Dyson.
Look at this.
I mean, look at Tommy. And I mean, he's got like 2 little areas that he can see through, and that's it.
You can see how he's using the throttle and the brake bit by bit to just
he's what we call driving by braille.
Absolutely
yeah,
is.
Because this is very, very insane. What he's undergoing. So really good on you.
Stevie Wonder may take up racing after this. This is incredible. Absolutely insane.
That's good stuff for sure.
Awesome stuff. We're really enjoying this race, and the skills of these drivers is absolutely incredible. Let's take a look. We saw that Dreesy got ahead of Boris said. Adam, let's see what happened.
I mean, the only place he could go and see, right? Like, I got to get over here just to be able to see him. And he just flat out broke Boris there, was able to get, more woe down out of the car and made the pass. As we're back on board, Justin Marks has not put a wheel wrong, doing an awesome job. I mean, he can definitely be so proud of his performances here this weekend. It is not easy to come in here and to stretch a gap on a Chris Dyson every time you get a green flag here today.
Yeah, just a reminder, you can see on the CBS Sports Network on September 18th. So look out for that in your TV guide, if you still take one. But SGT also still going strong. There's good battle. Aaron Pierce was leading it. He still is leading it. In fact, he's got a bit of a gap on the 44 of Lee Saunders at the moment here in the closing stages. There he is coming out of the mist, coming into Mission Foods turn 1. Some traffic in front of him as well.
Yeah, right behind Kerry Hitt there. And but right here, our guest Pius is with the winner's circle. And just give us a quick, 60 seconds, Pius, on what you guys are accomplishing there at the winner's circle.
The Winner's Circle has been partnering with local high schools to really teach students about racing organizations and becoming a racing organization themselves through project-based learning. And so throughout the year, they're building Factory 5 Cobras, and they're competing with who did it the best. And so it's been a wonderful venture to be able to get into giving kids opportunities outside of the classroom and reinventing the classroom. And Chris Dyson is a major sponsor of ours. He's also a childhood friend of mine since I was 10 years old. And to be able to work side by side with him to give these students the opportunities has just been priceless. We do have a movie coming out called From 0 to 100, which was shot throughout COVID and showing what the kids could really do outside of regular classrooms. There's a whole field of people being introduced to racing through our project.
I met some of you kids down at the Grand Prix redo, as it were, or the replica of the 2 laps they did. Oh, and a moment there for Justin Marks. He almost lost it completely. A fantastic thing that they're doing, and a great learning thing for those kids, getting them back into motorsport and getting a love for cars.
It was wonderful because Alfred State has been one of the supporters of it, so we want motorsports for kids to go and say, hey, you want to get into motorsports, there's college degrees that can happen from it. So Alfred State was a great partners of ours, Factory 5, obviously, the Dyson Foundation and the Dysons as well. And the champions last night were crowned. Waverly High School won. and Dr. Eric Knowles has been one of the greatest supporters, one of the greatest administrations that I've ever had has been with that high school.
So glad you could make it in here.
Thank you.
Watch out for that.
Appreciate
Go
you.
down
Thank you.
to it.
Thank
What's
you,
the
Adam.
website?
It's winners-circle.org, and we're auctioning off this Cobra at State Line Auto Auction at Waverly on September 30th.
He got it in there.
There you go.
147 to go. Justin Marks almost went off track there for a moment, and we just saw Pantaric coming into the pits. Pierce still leading in in SGT, and in XGT, Jody Miller is leading. But here's the man of the moment, and
So
take us home.
Jonathan Green, there in turn 9, where you say that he was going off, you go there in the wet. That's where you go to get the drive off. So it looks very dramatic, and it looks like, but that's where you need to go at Watkins Glen to find the grip in turn 9, because it's such a tricky part, and it's really off camber on track. It kind of flattens out up there and stays a little drier and doesn't hold the water. But, you know, Justin, again, as he enters into the boot there, through turn 6, as he accelerates to turn 7, this is where I saw him like a sprint car driver at the beginning of the race, just hanging on to the left rear and driving around that thing, but holding a pretty steady wheel. And, a lot to play here. I'm imagining he's getting the white flag this time around, don't you think?
I think so. And Suarez, if you're watching, this is how you do it in the wet at the Glen.
Yes, sir, it is. Yes, sir, it is. Except you don't have to deal with this part.
Nope. They
don't have to deal with the boot.
That's true. So we're getting down to the nitty-gritty, and Justin Marks is almost sideways at every corner here.
See, he's going to go wide here.
I see,
that?
yeah. I gotcha.
And then he can point it straight.
Gotcha.
Now with the wheel straight, I could be on the power.
Gotcha. Good
see that?
knowledge. Yep.
Yeah.
No, I totally appreciate that.
Yeah.
And absolutely, to the unclassified eye, as it were, yeah, it looks as though he's in trouble, but no, he's just straightening the corners.
100%. We call it diamonding the corner off, is making that angle, right? You go in. You know, my teammate TA2, he is a magician at that driving style. He is so freaking good at it.
There's
so
your white flag.
Out.
1 lap to go here at the Glen. What a day it's been for everybody involved. I can just see our cameraman perched up there at turn 1. That's his view of the front straight. Incredible stuff. Dyson's going to come home in second. Wipers flailing from side to side as he tries to desperately see through that foggy windscreen he's got there, but he's done a sterling job, as has Dreesy in third. And
you notice it has cleared up since he's caught speed.
Yep.
You know, under caution, it's like you just hate to see a caution all the time, so you know, when you're up front, but it's especially a big struggle in the wet because you're just so scared of this fogging. But as you can see now that he's moving up at his speed, he's got some pretty good vision now. And that's, I'm sure, how he's been able to reopen that gap up on Tommy Dreesy there. Because I'm guessing if we went on board Tommy, we would see a pretty fogged up windshield still.
Yeah, and I've just heard that Boris said might be challenging again for the third, so it isn't over for that battle, but it's pretty much going to be game over for second place. I think Dyson's got this now. He just needs to nurse it home. Same for Justin Marks, just a few corners to go, but this is when the gremlins start to creep in. You start to relax, think you've got it, and then suddenly you can get caught out so easily in these conditions. And this has been a masterclass in the way.
And I tell you what, Chris Dyson they're rooting for Boris Said right now to take some more points away from Tommy Dreesy, and because, Chris has had a pretty darn good points day. Justin Marks came in, stole the show today, 100%. Has just had a great weekend. You know, he was, just in qualifying yesterday was astonishing. And
here he comes.
So yeah, he's looking pretty here. What a beautiful car that is too.
Yeah, great color scheme for the number 5, but it's going to be Trackhouse Racing and Franklin Road who take the victory here, win in the hands of Justin Marks. He took the pole position, the man from Tennessee, and hasn't looked back in that Camaro ever since. It's a good day, despite the fact that the boss in Ken Thwaites did not get to finish. His car is gonna take a win here, and a special one at the Glen for Justin Marks. He comes out of the last corner. There's the checkered flag, and Justin Marks goes from pole to win here at Watkins Glen in atrocious conditions, and a high five for Ken Thwaites and the team. They'll be celebrating long into the night, I'm sure. Well done to them, and what a season it's turning out for the Franklin Road team, no question about it. Dyson comes across the line in second place, and at the moment we're just waiting to see who takes third, whether it's Said or Dreesy. But celebrations all round and thumbs up. That's nicely done. Here comes Tommy Dreesy.
Yeah, that does look like it was going to be Tommy Dreesy there at the line.
And here's that battle for SGT, and it's not over. Pierce and Saunders. Saunders got some time. He's got 2 more corners now to have 1 more pop at Pierce. He comes to the inside. It's going to have to be an audacious lunge if he tries it, but he doesn't, and Pierce is going to hold on. What a race these two have had. This is actually better than the front race because these two have been this close pretty much for the last hour. And Pierce is going to, oh, is he? No!
No, that is not the line there. That is not the line there. And
Saunders waited, and
wow. What drama at the end in GT. That is beautiful, beautiful stuff. Lee Saunders showing the poise. And my Hoosier buddy, Aaron Pierce. That's not going to be a fun trip back home to Indiana, buddy. I know you're going to hate that I-80 stretch, but back on board here to the big race winner, Justin Marks. Great job for Trackhouse.
Waving to the camera.
No, you should be proud. That's when you come win Trans Am races, TA2 races, you've done something. This is a historic series. It's a very competitive series, and we're just so happy to have him and representing it and doing so from the front.
What a race. That had everything.
And that's what the rain does, Jonathan Green, right?
That's exactly right.
This is why, I don't know why people laughed at Bernie Ecclestone when he said he wanted to put sprinklers on tracks, but I think it's a fantastic idea. Mid-race, just throw the sprinklers on and make everyone come in for some wets.
Well, one thing's for sure, Chris Dyson's still leading that championship by a country mile, and that was a good, calm performance by Chris Dyson and the Otwell team because it could have gone 2 ways that. He could have pushed and made a mess of it, or kept his head and not worried about the win, and that's exactly what he did. And that's how you win titles.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a consummate professional. He knows he was raised in a championship winning atmosphere. He knows exactly how to do this stuff, and so he stays poised, and he put out the performance exactly what you would expect today, and so did this man. Exactly what you would expect out of Justin Marks. I've seen him do some incredible things. I watched him bounce off the wall there on the downhill at Road Atlanta, not even burp the throttle in a TA car, and still carry on, I believe, podium there that day in the wet. So this is cool to see him pull into victory lane. Great to see for Showtime and Franklin Road Apparel. This is their weekend, so to be able to capitalize on that, I know that's very special for Ken Thwaites, his wife Shelly, and the whole gang over there. It's a really good feeling for everybody.
Well done to Justin Marks, and well done to the Franklin Road Apparel to win their own classic, which they sponsored. They are the headline sponsor, so that's a lovely moment for them, and they'll be celebrating as they come in to victory lane.
It's all done, Justin. Now it's over. You're get out and celebrate with the boys and gals of the team, and this is what it's all about. This is the joy of sport.
Ken's going to be one of the first to greet him.
This is Jeremy there helping him out. I believe crew chief on this car. And Ken, proud owner.
Yep, he's going to give him a big hug, but he may not get in there before our own Ben Sissel, who's ready and waiting to greet Justin Marks. Let's head down now to victory lane at Ben Sissel.
Yeah! Good job. Hey, buddy. Nice.
All right, look at this. Some great celebrations here as Ken Thwaites. That's 2 for Ken Thwaites here in the TA series. 1 with Paul Menard, 1 with Justin Marks. Unbelievable in this kind of weather as he hugs his family. His girls are here, his wife is here, all the way from Brentwood, Tennessee. They were super excited to see him win. Let's wait until he gets it out. So while he's taking off his helmet, his Haas device, Ken, come over, team owner. How's that feel at the Franklin Road Apparel Classic?
It was awesome. I'm glad that Justin and I were able to, get this deal together. I told him when he inquired about the car, I said, you can win the race in that car. And he kind of like, well, maybe. But as this weekend went on, it was pretty clear he had the pace, and man, he got the job done. It was awesome.
Nice. Well, let's talk to Justin. So, Justin, just a few years ago, Road Atlanta, we saw you in TA, and you got 4 wheels off the ground, but still finished on the podium. Yeah. But now this weekend, you've just been the class of the field in what I call terrible conditions. How was it out there?
I love these conditions, man. This is what I love right here. Come here, girls.
Introduce your family here.
My daughter Olivia, my daughter Presley, and my wife Erin back there who's hiding from the camera. No, this was great, man. It's a testament to just how well prepared these cars are. The Showtime Motorsports team brought an awesome race car. Literally from the first session on the racetrack, we just were fine-tuning and tweaking stuff. So it was just, I just had to do my job, really, honestly. And we worked all weekend or all week to get this thing perfect in the dry, and I think we got it perfect in the dry, and then it rained, and those guys made really good changes right before the race. We were able to just maintain all race long.
Nice. Girls, are you proud of your dad?
You proud? Yeah? Okay, they're shy.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah, exactly. I love it. Justin Marks, congratulations. Unbelievable down here. Let's come over here in this Viper. In SGT, Lee Saunders, congratulations, man.
Thank you.
How was that? How did that feel out there? Not the best conditions. Could you see?
I couldn't see anything. It was unbelievable. My windshield wipers failed, so I got no wipers. Luckily, we had a caution. I could wipe some of the dew off. But, man, Aaron, I feel sorry for him because the last turn, he lost the lead to me. I'm grateful that I got it, but he drove an awesome race, just super clean. We had a great battle. That's probably the most fun I've ever had in this car.
The most fun he's ever had in a race car. Unbelievable. And then over here, first time in the Trans Am Series, had some great races this weekend in International GT, but Jody Miller winning in XGT. How cool is that, Jody?
Wow, what a great time. I really appreciate everybody. It was safe out there. A lot of difficult driving. Visibility was zero. Just a great experience to get through this. Really hand it to this gentleman, SGT, made an awesome pass. He won that. He did a great job. But to be honest with you, visibility was near zero. Cars without lights, probably pretty sketchy. But I had a great time, and the Trans Am Series has been really welcoming, and I couldn't be happier.
Give a little what's up, people, to David Tuati.
Hey, what's up, people?
Nice. That's kind of the TLM signature, if you don't know. Hopefully TLM will be back in the Trans Am Series. Nice job. Tony Pirelli, owner of the Trans Am Series. You started in Trans Am here back when you were a kid. Tell everybody about your experience and what a dream it is to own the series.
I was here as a 10-year-old kid in 1969, and names like Pernelli Jones and Roger Penske and so on. To come here all these years later, this is the 10th anniversary of us being involved with SVRA and Trans Am. And it's just what a day. I mean, yesterday was the best weather you could ever have. Today was the worst. And I don't know which show I enjoyed more. The THO, these guys are warriors to driving and stuff, but it's a thrill. I'm just so appreciative. The fans that came out and weathered this, and just a glorious weekend, and despite the weather. But great job by everybody.
And you said names like Parnelli Jones and George Fulmer, but now we've got like Justin Marks and Chris Dyson out there, and Boris Said. How cool is that?
I mean, it's just awesome. I mean, the THO seems to become a ladder system for NASCAR and the Cup Series, yet these guys with the Trans Am group are just putting on a show. And you get a guy like Dreesy in the rain, and he came through at the end to get Boris. What a show they put on. And they don't blink, they don't complain, they just drive, and it's awesome.
I love it. And we got to, before I go up to you, Jonathan, I got to cover this. Pierce, Lee Saunders, you guys might have had the race of the weekend.
Oh, man, it's fun to race with somebody you trust. And, I mean, I was really good up the hill, and he was really good back through the bus stop and through the carousel there, through the boot. And, coming out of 8, I could get him up the hill. And then when we got down the front straightaway, he's out braking me down here. I didn't have any analog brakes. I mean, that car doesn't have them. And when I hit the water down there, it was pump, 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 and try to get it back. And then he passed me on the bottom. So it was a lot of fun.
But this camaraderie, you guys just came out of a great race and just hugged each other. Is that what Trans Am is all about?
Go tell him a good job, So, yeah, I had a good time racing.
That's all about Trans Am. It's, you come for the race, stay for the people. So, Aaron it was just luck of the draw that unfortunately for him, that last turn, if we'd had another lap, he'd have done it to me. So it just happened really lucky for me, and we raced each other clean, and that's the best thing. When you know somebody is going to race you clean, and you know you can stick it in there, and they're not going to hit you, and you're not going to hit them, it just makes for that's the most fun I've ever had.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Well, congratulations, guys. That was awesome. Jonathan, I'm going to send it back up to you in the booth so we can start our celebration.
Great stuff. A soppy, wet Ben Sissel there doing the business as Watkins Glen goes quiet for a moment. More racing to come on the day, but that was a cracker, no question about it. Let's take a look at just some of those amazing highlights there. So we started off and it wasn't great weather at the start and it just got worse. Everybody trying to avoid the rooster tails as the Dayglow car of Boris said, even in the wet you could see that car. He gets past Ken Thwaites and Amy Ruman and Dreesy continue their war on track. And Ken Thwaites going off after coming together with one of the Porsches in XGT, Stephen Hammond, and that would cause him to be out of the race. Great move by Tommy Dreesy there on Amy Ruman. And Kerry Hitt back in the saddle, but probably worrying a little bit about that moment. But another great moment for Tommy Dreesy as he goes past Boris Said to take third position. But it was Justin Marks who took victory here at the Glen. Well, the conditions did not improve a great deal throughout the race. It's a little bit better now. So why don't we take a short break and we'll be back from Watkins Glen after this.
The next generation of communication is here with Allgram, the decentralized all-in-one communication platform. Your unique digital ID is hosted on the blockchain for the most secure peer-to-peer communication experience in the world. Chat, voice call, and video call seamlessly, triple encrypted, and decentralized. That means you're protected. We can't share, sell, or use your data in any way. Nobody is accessing your data, and Allgram validates every user on the blockchain. Plus, the app just works really well. Schedule calls and meetings, or create private or public clubs to use however you want. This is Allgram. Simplified, secure communication. Your data is yours.
Welcome back to Watkins Glen, and that camera shot tells you everything you need to know. Hopefully that cameraman is getting a nice warm sandwich right now, but that's the conditions we've had throughout most of the day here. But let's take a look at some more action from today. Battles throughout, but Grant was the first to succumb in the 55. And then Hammond went out, and luckily not too much damage to his car, but it did take Ken Thwaites out. Jody Miller got going in the all-blue GT3 Cup car and would go on to take victory in XGT, his debut run. But Aaron Pierce, under pressure, immense pressure throughout the race from the Viper, who wanted to make the sting, and he finally got his chance. Sadly for Cindy Lutt, it all ended up in the barrier, and she got stung from her Viper, and sadly so did Aaron Pierce, because on the last corner Lee Saunders makes it through as Pierce goes on. Justin Marks though wins. And it'll check on the results then. Franklin Road Apparel and the Chevrolet of Justin Marks wins in TA ahead of the Ford Mustang of Chris Dyson. Dreesy takes third, important points for him, ahead of Boris Said in fourth. Paul Fix in fifth, welcome back to Mr. Fix. Kerry Hitt, likewise, welcome back to him in sixth. Lee Saunders wins in SGT ahead of Aaron Pierce. Jody Miller wins in XGT and is ninth overall, making his debut. And Dirk Lohenberger is in 10th. Further down, Michael Sire in the Rapid NGMT Rapid Wraps. And KMC wins in GT. And Scott James, his opponent, is second. Danny Lowry, 13th. Grant, Pintaric, Lux, Ruman, Thwaites, Hammond and Grant all not finishing the race, but really brave just to get out there on a day like this. I'm going to leave a chance to talk to Adam Andretti after we look at who wins the chill out moment, and we'll see if Adam agrees, but we think that our chill out moment should go to Tommy Dreesy. He did a great job of overtaking in atrocious conditions, literally running blind for our chill out systems, chill out, keep cool move of the day. How about this one? Coming up on Boris Said at the restart. And remember, we saw the onboard shots. He could hardly see. He jinks to the inside and overtakes right at the line on Boris. And that was a really, really strong maneuver and great stuff indeed. Meanwhile,
Dyson had his hands full. There you see it completed, and through he goes on Boris, and that really is the move of the day. And under the circumstances, given how it looked in the car, well done to him for our chill out, keep cool move of the race.
Totally agree with that too, by the way, Jonathan, because when we went on board and saw Tommy on board, that was a full fog shut windshield, and he made that pass happen. So really, really nice job.
Did you wish to be out there, or did you enjoy being here today?
I love driving race cars, no matter what the conditions. So yeah, of course, I always want to be on the racetrack, and but I was blessed to be out there yesterday for Peterson Racing and Three Dimensional Services Group. So you know, I got my fill. But as a racer, you never have your fill. Just ask Scott Borchetta, who drives, I think, like 16 different classes on the weekend. So, but you never really get your fill as a true racer. So, yeah, you always wanted to be out there. But what a great job by these Trans Am competitors and putting on a show for us. Thank you so much to the teams, to Trans Am, to Greenlight TV, and to you, Jonathan Green, for letting me spoil your fun up here in the booth. It's always fun being a booth mate with you. But and also a shout out to a pretty little princess at home, Juliette Heaps. So I want to give a shout out to her. So thanks for everything up here. Really, really appreciate you all, and appreciate all the support. We'll see you at VIR.
Yep, Adam will be in action again at VIR, as we will once again. My thanks to everybody involved in this soggy day, but we'll take a short break. We'll be back for more from Watkins Glen very soon.
This is my house. My parents helped build it. Now we don't get wet when it rains. I don't get too hot or too cold inside. I can play with my sister, I can play with my brother, I can play with my mother, my father, my family. This is my house. This is my house. This is my house. This is my house.
This is my house.
Visit Habitat.org to find out how you can help more families like mine.
My name is Monse, and I am a senior at Cristo Rey. We bring high school students and corporations together to transform education. I work 1 day a week at Ryan Companies. There are Cristo Rey schools serving students across the country. Visit CristoRayNetwork.org and learn how you can become a corporate partner today.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it. Watkins Glen International, the Franklin Road Apparel Classic with the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli. Unbelievable. All right, so we're having to kind of roll with things here because of the dry erase marker in the wet. That doesn't do well. In the GT class, where is in second place? Let's hear it. Mr. James, where are you, Mr. James? Come on up here. All right, Scott James. I'm learning as we go. Man, welcome to the series. All right, and first place in GT. Thank you, James. Let's hear it. Mike Saya, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, they are very slippery. Be careful. So, how was it out there in your Porsche? Tell us about your race.
It was treacherous. Tons of spray. Visibility was terrible. My windscreen was a layer of fog. I couldn't see a thing. But I made it through, and it was fantastic. Great to be part of the Trans Am Series, and thanks for having me.
Nice. I love it. Let's hear it. One thing you should know, this is the first time in history that we have had a Porsche represented in all three GT classes, and today was definitely a Porsche day. Mike Saya, tell us about your race out there.
Well, first of all, I want to say thanks to KMC, crew chief Chris Ross, my teammate, Trans Am, for a great show, and I need my head examined to be out there for that long. So I had a couple of spins, came back, rallied, and just thank God I got through it. So thanks, everybody.
All right, on a scale of 0 to 10, what was the visibility out there?
10 being the best?
Yeah.
Minus 50?
I think that's what we're hearing from everybody. Exactly, I love it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, hold those trophies up. Let's hear it. GT class here at Watkins Glen International. That was some fantastic racing. Good to see you guys. We're going to put on the Pirelli hats. Let's hear how loud Watkins Glen can get for two Porsche drivers. Let's hear it. We got James in second, Saya in first, here at Watkins Glen International, the Franklin Road Apparel Classic. Welcome to the Trans Am Series. Thanks for coming out. And that was quite a show. Uh-oh. Let's see it. Oh, here we go. Right in the eyes. So now you got zero visibility for the rest of the afternoon. One more time for our GT class here, Watkins Glen International. Congratulations. That's awesome. Super GT. Well, hold on now. Let's see. Who wants a hat? I know, but see, I can throw there. That's easy. I'm gonna try it for the bleachers way up there. Cheap seats. Oh, I had a little curve on it, and that was a terrible throw. I should have just given it to you guys. Super GT. Let's hear it. In third place in that yellow Dodge Viper, Dirk Leuenberger. Aquastar. I don't know if you know this, but if you eat seafood, chances are that came through Dirk Leuenberger. That's true. Second place in SGT. Came down to the final lap. These two had quite a battle and so much fun. Let's hear it. Second place, Aaron Pierce.
No, it's fine. He's wearing Sam Pierce. I was like, what? Yeah.
It's always confusing because you're wearing Sam Pierce, and we'll talk about that later. And then in first place, I think he took it on the last lap. These two had a great battle. Good friends in that beautiful Dodge Viper. Let's hear it. Lee Saunders, first place, Super GT. Now, Dirk, being teammates with Cindy Lux, I know that had to be a little disheartening out there at the end of the race, but nice finish.
Yeah, it's not the way I want to advance a position, but Cindy's doing fine. She's doing well now, so I think that's the upside of this day, actually, for me. But appreciate all of you being here. Not the best conditions for any of us, but I always love racing at Watkins Glen. I love racing with Trans Am, and thank my team for a great car, and we'll see you at the next race.
Nice, I love it. Dirk Leuenberger. Aaron Pierce out there just, I think, wishing for some anti-lock brakes or something, but man, nice race. Tell us about your race out there.
Yeah, there at the beginning, I had a good race going on with Cindy, and you know, the longer I went, I've only raced a car twice. This is the second time in the rain. So the first few laps was just trying to learn, and I got faster and faster and faster and put some distance between myself and Cindy. And then on the caution, I looked back and I saw Lee back there, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to get up on the wheel now. So there were spots that he was way better than I was, and there was places I was better than him. So I had to take advantage of the spots that I was better than him and really try to put distance between us. And a couple times I got far enough away where I couldn't see his headlights, and just tried to keep plugging. And then there at the end there, you got a little pressure on me, and I just got in a little hot down here and kept it out of the fence. So ended up second. I saw him go by, but couldn't throw anything out in front of him.
Nice, I love it. And Lee, you've been with us a long time, but you got out of the car saying that might have been your favorite race. Take the mic, tell us about your race.
Thank you. Yeah, that was actually my favorite race. First of all, before I get anything, I'd like to thank God for allowing us to be here today, for keeping everybody safe. So glad to see Cindy was okay. Thank you for Trans Am. This is unbelievable. I've never been to Watkins Glen before. Absolutely beautiful facility. Thanks for the fans for coming out. Just awesome seeing everybody. And also, for one more thing, I'd like to dedicate this race to my best friend Brian. He lost his battle with cancer about a month ago, and it was really special maybe to win for him today. He would have been watching if he was still here with us, but I know he's watching from above. So anyway, yeah, great race. It was unbelievable out there. The visibility was definitely negative 50. The good thing was I had Aaron to follow, so I just watched for his brake lights, and because that's all I could see. And he was definitely giving it to me in some corners, and I was able to come around him or come up with him a little bit, and he raced so clean with us. It was awesome. Everybody did. You know, it's just awesome knowing that these drivers are so good that you can hang right beside them and know they're not going to take you out and you're not going to take them out. And it was just luck of the draw. Another lap, he'd have come around me. So I got lucky today. Aaron drove a hell of a race. Everybody did to stay out there. And just thanks again. Thanks for coming out and had a fantastic time.
Nice. Thank you. I love it. Let's hear it, ladies and gentlemen. Dirk Leuenberger, Aaron Pierce, Lee Saunders, Super GT here at Watkins Glen International.
It's melting.
Man, you guys got quiet. I'm sorry. We don't like quiet here. Let's hear it one more time. Dirk Leuenberger, Aaron Pierce, Lee Saunders. There we go. I love it. Stay there. Glenora Wine Cellars with some champagne. You've got some trophies. You get champagne. You get all that and a bag of chips. Don't forget your bag of chips. Oh, he's getting the crowd. Look at that. That's some good tasting champagne there. One more time, Super GT, Dirk Leuenberger, Aaron Pierce, Lee Saunders. Nice job, guys. Oh, they say come this way. Exit stage right.
We're very coachable.
Yeah. Extreme GT. I got to brag on this person real quick. He broke something in practice, and through the night, this is a logistics owner, manager of a big logistics company, Bridge Hall, drove all through the night to one of our competitors in International GT who gave him the combination to his shop, to steal a part off of his shelf or a few parts, to drive all the way back through the night to finish second in XGT, right, Mike? It's all melted over here. So let's give it up, Danny Lowry in that beautiful Audi R8. So that's some good hustle to be up here second place. Nice job. First time in XGT, finishes first in another one of our Porsches. Let's hear it, ladies and gentlemen. Jody Miller out here with Team TLM. Danny Lowry, I've seen you this year in a Porsche at Charlotte. You've been in a TA2 several times, but in these conditions, I think an Audi R8 was pretty suiting. Tell us about your race.
Well, normally it would have been the exact car I would have wanted to be in, but due to our issues on Thursday, we lost a wheel speed sensor, so we'd never had any electronics in the car. So the goal was just simply to go out there and make soft laps and finish the race, stay out of trouble, and have some fun. So we did it. We accomplished our goal. It wasn't pretty, but we got her done.
Did you stay out of trouble?
I stayed out of trouble. That's what counted. I really like to give a shout out to my buddies at Ricky Sanders Racing for all their support, and Tyler Hoffman coming up and helping me. And we even got help from Goldcrest and Autometrics. And my buddy Rick, I can't think of his last name, he's from Connecticut. He showed up like an angel. He saw how we were struggling working on the car, and he showed up and had mercy on us and helped us fix the car. So it was all in all a great weekend. I love Watkins Glen. It is my favorite racetrack on the circuit, and Trans Am is just always incredible to work with. So thanks, Ben. We appreciate it.
Nice. I love it. So Jody, Steve Hammond, man, he just took off like a rocket early on, and I think watching the broadcast, we were even saying this could be an overall win in XGT, and then had an unfortunate incident, was off the track. So then it was up to you to represent TLM. And actually, while the broadcast is going on, David Tuati's texting me. So you know he's watching you and cheering you on. How did it feel out there?
Well, first of all, it was...
Here, you take the mic. You're tall, man.
It was treacherous. I think that's the word of the day. Visibility just was not there. But what I liked about it was everybody kept their head about them. I didn't see any dangerous driving. People were courteous. I think we all had our heads in the game, and for a first-time Trans Am racer, I could not be happier with the field. I will be back. TLM, awesome job prepping the car. Mark Exton did the crew chiefing this weekend on this car and just helped a ton. I would not be here without Pippa Mann. Pippa Mann has been my coach for 2 years. I've been driving for almost 2 years now, And without her guidance and coaching, she sat up in that bleachers in the rain and helped me call every turn, and I am so thankful for her in my paddock. So thanks to everybody, thanks to TLM, and just could not be happier. It was so unfortunate for Stevie. He was making numbers up so quickly. He is an unbelievably good, talented driver, and it was just unfortunate. I should be there, and he should be here, but we'll be back next time.
Nice. I love it. Well, let's hear it. You know, one thing to know about this mixed class racing in conditions like this, usually the faster cars have headlights and they can flash at you. Nothing. So you can't see these faster cars coming up in the mirror, so that's crazy. Let's hear it. XGT, Danny Lowry, Jody Miller, hold those trophies up high. Oh yeah, you're not done yet though. I know you've been on the podium with us this weekend with International GT, but we got to do this thing called the hat dance. So let me take this hat, and then you'll put that one on. Hold your trophies up high. Look at the photographer. One more time, Danny Lowry, Jody Miller, welcome to the Trans Am Series. Jody Miller, nice job. Unbelievable. And Pippa, he says only 2 years. Is that right? That's unbelievable. Uh-oh. Let's hear it, crowd. Let's get loud. Danny Lowry, Jody Miller, out there spraying. Good thing these guys have raincoats on. That does burn the eyes a little bit. You guys want some Mission chips, too? Feel free. Juan Gonzalez brings those out for everybody. All right. Trans Am Masters. So happy to have him back with us. We have missed him so much throughout the season. Let's hear it. Kerry Hitt, Trans Am Masters. Come on, people. He makes these awesome bodies for us. Advanced Composites, longtime Trans Am supporter. Kerry Hitt. You know, when you come back to the series, you want it to at least be good conditions. Tell us about your race out there.
Well, I think treacherous was the word of the day, so I agree with it. But it was really great. First thing I got to say is to be here. Mark Meissen came in and helped get my car ready. I thank you for that. And Adam Taylor and Noah Blake and Ron Weiss, those guys worked their butts off getting this thing ready to even be able to come out here. So but the race was great. I like the rain. I know, but it was interesting. One thing I want to bring out and I want to point out, we changed our car number. We changed it to number 22 of our veterans who end up giving up and leaving us, and that's per day. I don't think enough attention has been brought to that. I'd like people to realize that the reason we are here and be able to do the things that we do are for people who have given it all. So I just want to, we're going to run that number the rest of the year and hope that will love people. There's a group called Racing for Heroes, and they're the ones, they'll be at VIR, they're stationed at VIR, and they do a lot of work with veterans who have PTSD, and they use racing as a therapy, and what better therapy could there be but racing? But thank you all for coming out. Thank you for being here, and thank you so much. It's so great to be back to the Trans Am family. Missed you guys.
We missed you, Kerry, and thank you for everything that you're doing. 22, that's unbelievable. Thank you for wearing that number. Let's hear it for Kerry Hitt here. TA Masters. Kerry, would you consider Watkins Glen your home track or Lime Rock? What would you say?
Probably. I can't remember how many times I raced here, but yeah, I love it. Yeah, Watkins Glen, I would say, is probably my most favorite. Yeah.
Watkins Glen is his most favorite track. Let's hear it. Kerry Hitt, Masters in the Pirelli hat. Kerry, welcome back. And I love that you're running the number 22. We will talk about that a lot. Just want to show you what we're working with here. I need you guys to read those names for me right there. It's melting. All right, now we are to TA. 850 plus horsepower, fire-breathing behemoths. A fantastic race between some legends out there, making a late race pass on Boris said. Let's hear it in third place, Tommy Dreese. That beautiful blue Lucas Mustang. Tommy, welcome back. I've been missing you. Are we going to get a famous Tommy Dreese selfie? All right. Yeah. You guys stick around for that. If you follow him on social media, you're going to know what we're talking about here. In second place, in his home state of New York, a hard-fought battle, last year's TA champion. Let's hear it, Chris Dyson. Here he comes. Driving that beautiful Altwell CBD Ford Mustang, wearing his Jim Weed hat up here. And then, yeah, see, there we go. And then in first place, ladies and gentlemen, at the Franklin Road Apparel Classic, the owner of Trackhouse Racing was here just a few weeks ago with NASCAR, showing the NASCAR drivers how it's done at the rain, at the Glen. Let's hear it. First place, Justin Marks, Franklin Road Apparel, Trackhouse Racing. Tommy Dreese, this is going to be quite the good selfie up here. Take the mic, tell us about your race.
Well, first of all, everybody who came here to go through this weather to watch us out there, that's why we come here, to put a good show on. Justin's been the class of the field all weekend, dry, wet. I got to say something. Justin's a great driver. He better be good, right? But who picked up their game as a team and driver is Ken Twaits. I mean, Ken Twaits, you know, he didn't have a good race today. He got together with somebody, but he was so good today. And then, I don't know, are you a champion? Where's Claggett? Is Claggett like adding the numbers up right now? Anyway.
Here he is.
I got it. Anyway, had a good race. I had to go back and forth, lost a couple spots, gained a couple spots on the restart. I don't know. My hat's off to Boris because that thing was so wicked. Whenever he was driving, I don't know if he had something broke in the suspension or he just lost tires, but he drove his heart out. So, hey, we all drive our hearts out there. Thank you very much. 3GT, thank you very much. We've had a tough weekend. We needed this little sail under our wings going into the next race. Lucas, the Lucas family, MAV TV, and CBS, anyway, Trans Am, all the people who work for Trans Am, thank you very much. Lacey, Jagger, Elon, I love you. I'm coming back. I'm coming home.
Now let's take a little break for the Tommy Dreese selfie. Yes. This is a tradition in Trans Am. He pulls out his phone, he takes a selfie. Make sure you follow him on social media. Let's hear it for the Tommy Dreese selfie. Come on, I can hear DJ back there laughing about that. You know, that's a pretty famous selfie you got there, too. Oh, and the product placement from Chris Dyson. Oh, all on the top step. Look at that. We got some good product placement from Dyson, too. And I got to mention, last year, Dyson clinched the championship at VIR. According to Chris Dyson's math, we cannot officiate this or make this official, but according to your math, I don't know how mathletic you are, Dyson, you're going to have to cover us on this. He thinks he may have clinched the championship here one event earlier in his home state of Watkins Glen. What are we saying here back there? Somebody's yelling at me. Is that Ashley? It's provisional. It all has to go through tech. There's so much to go through. So I think that's what John told me. Here's what John's saying. John's saying it's provisional.
So that's according to the series president, not Chris Dyson.
Yeah, that's according to John Claggett. Now, hold on here. You take the mic.
With the visibility I had out in track today, the last thing you guys want me doing is math right about now. I'll tell you what, it's always great to come up here to Watkins Glen. We've had a hell of a season. Tommy's run me hard the whole way. Great having Justin here this weekend. I hope he comes back and does more. This series is phenomenal. I'm so pleased to be running up front here. This has been some of the best years of my career here. I've really enjoyed it. It's been terrific to be aligned with the Pickett family and Altwell, Jim Weed, and just so happy to be bringing the team out here. 2 cars every weekend. This series is the oldest and most historic most badass cars in the world. And being up here at Watkins Glen, it's home for me. My dad's here. I don't know where he is, but Dad's here, which was a special treat. We've had a lot of good times here, man. We've had a lot of good days here, and today was certainly one of the more exciting ones. I think Justin put on a clinic out there, and Tommy, damn it, you're running me hard. He played possum all weekend.
I couldn't believe you made it up that hill.
But so happy to be here with Altwell, Jim Weed, joining forces with the series, and obviously branding on the car. We're just trying to grow this thing, and if we can keep having weekends like this together with the racing and the competitive fight we had up front, I think this series is just going from strength to strength right now, and really proud to be here, proud to be a champion. Thank you.
Nice. I love it, Chris Dyson. You had a busy weekend too with Winter Circle and the high schools that made these Cobras. That was a really cool thing. I want to say something about just being a motorsports fan. All the work that Justin Marks does with his new team, Trackhouse, the NASCAR team, Ross Chastain, Daniel Suarez. He spends his vacation time, his time off here, racing with us at Watkins Glen. How cool is that as a motorsports fan? Justin, I hope you can race with us more in Trans Am. I'm just going to put you on the spot. Do you plan on coming back more this season or next season?
Well, not this season. I got to go to these. I got 8 more Cup races I got to go to, and we're making a run for the championship. So,
2 weeks.
But it's you know, race car driver vacations aren't necessarily at the beach. They're just at maybe a track they haven't been to in a while or something like that. So no, it's awesome. Look, this car was great right off the truck. This Franklin Road Apparel guys, Showtime Motorsports, they built a really, really great race car, prepared super well. And I have not driven a TA1 car here, so it was just great to be able to get in that first test session and have it just work immediately well, so we could just kind of go to tweaking it. So ton of fun. These are my favorite race cars in the world. I mean, I've driven a lot of cool stuff, and these things there's just nothing that quite compares to one of these things. So it's definitely we got to get the world out there to the world how amazing, get the word out to the world how amazing this series is, and I'll certainly do my part. Just honored and humbled to be able to just have a great weekend with everybody here.
100%,
Nice.
Justin. Well done.
All right, well done, Chris Dyson says. You got your trophies. Chris Dyson's got his gym weed. I can hear DJ out there laughing. You got to hold the trophy, too. He needs another hand. Let's hear it. Tommy Dreesy, Chris Dyson, Justin Marks, and Chris Dyson. You're 70 points ahead, pending tech, which means passing tech. I think John says you would clinch here. Where'd John go? He says yes, so let's hear it in his home state. One weekend before he did last year. That is cool. Dreesy, okay? You okay? All right, here you go.
Okay.
Hold these trophies up, gentlemen. Let's hear it. Tommy Dreesy, Chris Dyson, Justin Marks. We've got some legends up here on the podium. Congratulations to the Dyson team, Altwell CBD, putting together one of the best seasons I've seen in TA in quite a while. Now we come up here with the champagne. Justin Marks' family came here all the way from Brentwood, Tennessee to celebrate. Let's hear it. Tommy Dreesy right in Justin's eyes. And I don't think, well, Dyson, you forgot about one for the homies. We need one for the homies. He never forgets, he says. Tommy Dreesy, Chris Dyson, Justin Marks, showing us how it's done in the rain. Justin Marks, super talented in the rain. There's one for the homies right there as he gives it out. I love it. And we will do family photos. Yeah, hold on, Justin. Before you leave, come up the top step. We've got his daughters here. Come on up here. You want a picture with your dad?
Okay. MCO is going. Okay, yeah. MCO is Justin. Yeah.
All right, so, Justin, if you'll, here, stand up here in the front, Justin, with your daughters. Let's hear it all the way from Brentwood, Tennessee. His daughters came up here to cheer for him, saw their dad win again. Don't go too far, Tommy. And Justin, what are their names?
This is Presley on my left and Olivia on my right. This is
Nice, I love it. Presley from Tennessee, Presley and Olivia. They're shy. I love it. Well, welcome, guys. And Justin, don't go too far.
Hey, drink some chill out, right? Okay.
We're going to start with our chill out moment of the race to keep him cool throughout these races. And Justin, don't go too far yet. But for the chill out moment of the race, let's hear it. Chill Out Systems, Tommy Dreesy. Mike Dallenbach up here to deliver the Happy Gilmore check. Let's hear it for Chill Out Systems, ladies and gentlemen, keeping our drivers cool out there. $250 goes to Tommy Dreesy for not getting heat exhaustion in the next couple races. Perfect, Tommy, thank you. Thank you so much. And then our MCO Top Gear Award, Larry Bishop, come on up here. Justin Marks gets our MCO Top Gear Award. Let's hear it, Justin. Get up on that top step, and we've got some hats for you to throw out afterwards, so don't go too far, people. Let's hear it, Larry Bishop. How's it feel to be awarding such a legend the Top Gear Award?
It's awesome. I'm so proud of you guys, everybody that built the car. Worked really hard, stuck him in there, went fast, good competition, tough conditions. Congratulations, everybody.
Nice. I love it. Let's hear it. MCO Top Gear Award, Larry Bishop, Justin Marks. So much fun. All right, Justin, put you on the spot. Throw out some hats. Who wants some hats, people? Come on now. Ooh, a little boomerang, actually. He throws them high. Look out. This guy right here in this blue, he's wanting one. There we go. Nice. Justin, congratulations. Have a safe ride home to our home of Brentwood, Franklin, Nashville, Tennessee. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that does it for the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli. Ken Twaits, thank you for putting on the Franklin Road Apparel Classic here at Watkins Glen International. In just a few weeks, we're going to be at Virginia International Raceway, but stay tuned, and congratulations to Chris Dyson.
Hey,
Rob,
you can tell I like to go
congratulations,
fast.
man. Thanks
The
for
team
being
is
here.
really well prepared.
Yeah, it was
we
awesome.
like to look good, but we also like to dress good, and that's why we shop at Franklin Road Apparel. I own the company, and I wear the clothes that we sell in that store. So check us out. We carry all the top brands: Baldwin, John Barbados, Billy Reed, Goodman Brand, and on down the list. So come see us, Franklin Road Apparel, Franklin, Tennessee.
If your tooling isn't quite ready and you need parts, and you need more parts than just a few, or if your run is just not that big, look to the experts in low volume production, 3-Dimensional Services. Whether it's 10, 100, or 1,000 parts, we can meet your needs. And if it's 10,000, we can do that too. 3-Dimensional Services delivers high quality parts for short runs, 70% faster than industry standards. 3-Dimensional Services. Prototype, production, proven.